The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It's Monday, baby. What up? Upstate South Carolina. So good to be back with you once again. I am Rob Brown. The pleasure is exclusively mine. Back in the network studio in charge of button switch. Back in the network studio. I'm in the network studio.
You're preparing for the rest of your week.
Preparing for the rest of the week.
That's what you're doing.
We got a whale of a week lined up for you, ladies and gentlemen. A whale of a week lined up for you, and I am excited about it. Tell you about that coming up in just a moment. But before we do, let's say hi to Lonzo. Hi, Lonzo.
I'm back in the network studios.
Back in the network studios.
I can't see you, Rob, but I hope you're doing well.
It's like I've got the what's the Weather Channel dude's name? The bald one?
Jim Cantori.
Cantori. It was always a bad week on the Florida Gulf Coast if Jim Cantori was in town. There was a bar I worked at a while back that every time Cantori came into town, he would show up at this bar, you know? Hurricane coming in, Cantori would do his hits from the beach, and then he'd come to the bar and have a drink. And they had shirts made with the bar logo on the front, and on the back, it had Cantori with the circle with the line through it. What's the official name? There's a name for that sign. You know what I mean? Like the no sign.
Anti.
The no sign. They made shirts with Cantori's name and face on the back with
Wait a
that
minute.
sign.
That wasn't invented for the Ghostbusters?
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
right.
It was not.
I got to say, I'm not surprised that Cantori was tying one on. I mean, when he's
was that job
where he's being sent every time. Yeah.
Hey, Cantori, there's a monster hurricane coming to the Gulf. Go ahead and pack up, buddy. Again.
I wonder if the Weather Channel, if he has a drinking stipend because of where they're sending him.
It's called the Mental Health Preparation Fund.
Maybe it's just open up an open tab wherever we send you.
Yeah.
We'll cover it.
Charge it to the game, baby. All right, the Rob Brown Show gets underway. We got a week lined up for you. I will be out tomorrow, kinda. Our boy Diddy coming to sit in with you on tomorrow's show. I will actually be just down the road at Clemson. Tomorrow is Clemson's Media Day, and your boy has been tasked, charged,
assigned
with going to Media Day, which means that tomorrow I'll be down the road in Seatown at Media Day. I'll be doing interviews, fingers crossed, with Dabo, with Brent Venables, with the rest of the coaching staff. Get to tour the facility for the first time since I've moved here. It'll be my first day stepping foot inside the stadium. I will get to participate in some activities alongside the coaching staff. So pretty good day overall for that.
You ever have a thought and you thought about saying something?
I saw you have that thought.
But it's so extremely a certain way that I know I could get in trouble for it, but it's killing me.
Go ahead. When's that ever stopped you?
Yeah, I know.
You used to play banjo music when Clemson fans called.
Yeah. I know a guy who has a shirt you can borrow.
So tomorrow I'll be not wearing that shirt, but I'll be at Clemson tomorrow. I'll actually be. So Diddy's going to host tomorrow. I'll be calling into the show and providing updates from Media Day. Let you guys know what I'm getting into, some of the interviews we're going to hear, etc. On Wednesday and Thursday, the show will emanate live from Charlotte, North Carolina. I will be up in the Queen City for ACC Media Days. So on Wednesday, I will be driving up first thing in the morning. I will be, Mark Ryan and I both will be broadcasting live from Charlotte. In fact, on Wednesday, we're going to do the first ever ESPN Upstate Super Show as Mark Ryan will be sitting in on the Rob Brown Show from noon to 3. And then the Rob Brown Show will be sitting in on Offsides with Mark Ryan from 3 to 7. So you'll get 7 hours, a ESPN Upstate Super Show. You're going to get 7 hours of Rob and Mark together on Wednesday. Then on Wednesday night, I will be hanging out in the Queen City, be hanging out at Media Days in Charlotte all day long. Wednesday night, I'll be staying in Charlotte. And on Thursday, I will actually broadcast again live from Radio Row at ACC Media Days. So you get back-to-back days in Charlotte. Mark and I will do the whole 7 hours on Wednesday together. Then on Thursday, you'll get the Rob Brown Show live from Charlotte. Mark will be back in the Upstate broadcasting live from Ingalls, and then Friday. But so basically, you get a normal Rob Brown Show Monday and Friday this week. Diddy in tomorrow, a full super show on Wednesday with Mark Ryan sitting in with me, then me sitting in with Mark Ryan. Both of us doing our shows live from Charlotte. And then on Thursday, I'll be in Charlotte. Friday, I will be back in studio, and we'll get back to life as we know it.
I'm curious. I doubt it. I don't think it will be this way. When Mark and I were there a couple of years ago, they had the trophies there, and we were really close to the trophies. They also had a trophy full of oranges, and I kept trying to get Mark Ryan to steal an orange, which he would not do. And then I kept saying, well, what if I just want to, and there's a very large security guard. I was trying to crack the guy. I had him close a couple times, but he looked very mean. So I think you should have a goal to either crack that guy up if he's there or swipe an orange.
I'll get an orange. I'll figure out how to get an orange. I'll get an orange out of the Orange Bowl trophy. Hey, by the way, we do have breaking news. Legitimate. We have breaking news here, Lonzo. First time we can get the sounder going this week. Last week, our buddy Ryan wrote in, said that there was a woodchuck at his office, and he asked us to help. He asked the Rob Brown Show to help him come up with a name for the woodchuck. Said if his office named the woodchuck, they get a pizza party. Ryan wrote in and said that our collective name, which was Woodchuck Norris, has indeed won the naming contest, and Ryan gets a pizza party, which means Ryan.
Don't say collective. You came up with that. Take full credit for that.
No. Somebody else came up with Keegan came up with Woodchuck Barkley, and I said we all love Chuck Barkley, but if you need this to be for a non-sports collective, then Woodchuck Norris is the right way to go.
I think you're giving Keegan way too much credit.
He came up with Woodchuck Barkley.
Yeah, but he sparked the idea, but he didn't come up with the original idea that you did. And I think you should take full credit, and you deserve at least a slice.
Either way, Ryan, I will expect the invite to the pizza party in the email by the end of the day. Lonzo and I will absolutely crash the office.
Hey, Rob goes everywhere. If it is possible, I will ride along and I will crash. Let's do it.
Yeah, you can't say no to a pizza party.
But if we show up, don't tell anybody who we are.
Also,
we're just going to walk through and eat some pizza.
Also, you almost got a very different looking Rob Brown today, Zoe. I almost had to shave my head this weekend because after the Triumph scored the first of a pair of goals on Saturday, I will not say who it was, but they sparked off one of the smoke flares that you see at soccer matches. Well, a spark came off the edge of it and got in my hair and melted a solid chunk out of hair in the I now have to sweep the hair back.
So that's, I meant to say something to you earlier. That's why
the hair is all swept back today.
No, that's not a sign of male pattern baldness. It's not, your age catching up with you.
No, that was an artificially created bald spot. Thank you for asking. It was quite the adventure.
Hey, Rob. Sure it was.
It was. Look, the person in charge is literally apologizing for it right here in the Facebook chat.
I could see it.
Worry not, my man. It's a game day hazard. It's an accident. It happens. It happens. If that's the worst you do to me, we're going to just be just fine. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get the show started.
Let's do lunch.
This is a very nutritious lunch. All the food groups are represented.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
It is the lunch breakdown. The 3 things you have to know before you go start talking sports with a friend's family, coworker, or the dog. NFL camps open for some teams this week. Not all of them, but some of them start their camps as early as this week. The Dallas Cowboys are one of them, and because of Michael Irvin, we have gotten an inside look. We know that the Cowboys are going to be on Hard Knocks. One of the week that they're starting up, or one of the reasons they're starting up, they're starting up early. Words are hard. Dallas Cowboys on HBO's Hard Knocks this season. Well, one thing that we are going to be very interested in finding out is exactly what camp is going to look like, and it will look different for some teams and some players this year, and that is because of the COVID vaccination threshold that the NFL placed on teams in order to be able to ease COVID-19 restrictions during training camp. They asked teams to reach a threshold of 85% player vaccination in order to get rid of many of the regulations that were placed on them last year. And the Dallas Cowboys have not reached that 85% threshold that the NFL placed on them. Michael Irvin popped off on that, y'all. Irv popped off. Mike said, quote, "It should upset them. It should upset them. Dude, you're not thinking right. You're not thinking right. Whatever you got, I don't give a damn. Nothing else can be more important. You're not going to get this, winning a Super Bowl, easily. Nothing else could be more important." Jimmy Johnson made that abundantly clear. Nothing is more important. And not being one of the teams says there's other things to a great number of people on this team that are more important than winning championships. And that makes me worried, end quote. Now, the Cowboys are not the only team to fail to meet the threshold, at least as of this week. The Cowboys begin their training camp tomorrow. Their percentage of vaccinated players is not known, but ESPN's Kevin Seifert says that 13 NFL teams have reached the threshold. The rest have not. Do keep in mind that many teams don't start training camp for another 1 or 2 weeks. So there are still opportunities for other teams to meet the threshold, whether teams have got or whether players have gotten their first shot or waiting on the second, et cetera, et cetera. The Cowboys have a lab at their Oxnard, California training campsite to test unvaccinated players on a daily basis and vaccinated players weekly. Unvaccinated players will not be able to leave the hotel and must wear masks and remain distanced from people inside the facility, according to those protocols. Vaccinated players will not be required to wear masks, can eat meals with other vaccinated players, and have no limitations in the weight room. Unvaccinated players are only able to work out in certain numbers. Irvin's comments were directly related to the Cowboys, but he said that his stance is the same for all teams in this predicament. Quote, "If you're not one of the teams at the threshold, are you really thinking about winning a championship?" You see what I'm saying? Okay, so now if you're not getting vaccinated and you got all these other teams that are getting vaccinated, somebody in that damn locker room should say, "Hey man, we're going to have a chance. Are you vaccinated? Let's go through this, because this could be a 2-week healthy dude missing games. And in this league, this ain't the NBA. In this league, that could be it for you. The right person misses 2 weeks. That's it. Your ass is out." End quote from the great 88. We'll circle it back around to Mike's comments later on in the show. Item numero dos on the lunch breakdown: basketball. U.S. men's and women's basketball having themselves a couple of days yesterday. Team USA men's squad had to rally from a deficit, but got the win 83-76 over Spain yesterday evening in their final exhibition before they head to Tokyo. They fell behind by as many as 9 in the first half, but showed off the shooting muscle in the second half that finally started to look like the team Greg Popovich said he wanted it to. Popovich said, quote, "We're getting better with each passing day. Less is more. Reinventing the wheel is the worst thing you could do with this group." Kevin Durant, Damian Lillard, Zach LaVine all combined for 9 3-pointers. Keldon Johnson, who was promoted to the senior team Friday after the departure of Kevin Love, showed how fresh legs can make a difference. He plays for Pops on the Spurs and dropped 15 on 7 of 9 from the floor, was a team best plus 18 in the plus minus category. Just super aggressive running the court. The offense stood out, which was very, very nice. The large crowd at Mandalay Bay rewarded Johnson with an ovation after he checked out in the fourth quarter. Over on the women's side, Dawn Staley's gals got themselves a W as well. They routed Nigeria 93-62 in their final pre-Olympic exhibition. Dawn Staley said, quote, "It feels good to come out and play the way we did on both sides of the basketball. We shared it, got our bigs the ball. We made a concerted effort to do that. I think everyone in the locker room feels good about being able to impact the game in a lot of different ways." Wilson had 16. Stewart added 14 to the U.S.'s total, which dropped consecutive exhibition games for the first time since 2011 with losses to the WNBA All-Stars and Australia early in the week. Wilson said, quote, "No one wants to be on a team that loses. I was a little like, people talk and jump the gun, say everything and anything. The vets were like, it's okay. It's part of the game. We'll get back." Coach came in today and said, "We're getting back to our dominance." And that helped me feel a little more at ease. The people we have in the locker room are so talented. We know what we are doing. The American women got off to a strong start, raced to a 20-4 lead after shooting 2 of 18 from behind the three-point arc in the loss to Australia. The U.S. team decided to play inside basketball this time around. They got 10 from Wilson and Brittany Griner as well. They led 29-15 after one quarter. Stewart had 10 at the point. Griner took over in the second quarter to help the Americans extend the lead to 55-34 at the half and never looked back from there. And finally, item number 3 on the lunch breakdown. It was Louis Oosthuizen heading in on Sunday, and stop me if you've heard this before, but the guy who can never finish didn't finish again. Instead, it was the young American Colin Morikawa who would end up with the trophy from the Open Championship. Handled the ceremony as coolly and calmly as he did the final 18 on Sunday, just 24 years of age, but stared down the pressure and the adversity like an old vet on Sunday. Competing in his first Open Championship, he won it, a feat accomplished just twice previously in the past 25 years. Played the final round without a bogey, knocked down several clutch birdie and par putts, and hoisted the claret jug after he held off challenges from Jordan Spieth, John Rahm, and Louis Oosthuizen. Morikawa's caddy, J.J. Djokovic, said, quote, "He's a special kid," end quote. Went on to credit his mental strength, his maturity. He said, "You add the freakish ball striking to his stone-cold demeanor, and he's a dude who is comfortable in that type of situation." Ben Curtis did it 18 years ago, won the Open in his first attempt at any major. Before that, you got to go back to 1975. Tom Watson won the first of his 5 claret jugs in his initial attempt as well. But Colin Morikawa was stone cold down the stretch, stone cold, knocking down absolute ice water birdies in order to take over. Oosthuizen had the thing in the bag, and he just fell apart at the end, as he has done multiple times in majors. Colin Morikawa, not so much, buddy. Dude was lights out. All right, let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, we would be remiss if we did anything else but jump straight into Saturday night's Game 5. The Bucks are now, after trailing 0-2 away, just one victory from claiming the NBA championship trophy this year. Can the Suns figure it out? Not only are they now a game away from elimination, but the next one's in Milwaukee. We'll take a look at that game, see what comes up next. Hear from Coach Bud, from Giannis, Devin Booker, Chris Paul, and more when we come back on the Rob Brown Show. Rob Alonzo, it's ESPN Upstate.
I have a life. I have the power to make that happen.
So, Joe, you missed out, man. I played the snare at the game and had a freaking blast doing it. It was a great time.
So is there a certain cadence that you have to, I mean, how you doing?
Yes, no, I mean, so our buddy Andrew plays the bass. Him and Joe both play the bass and they alternate. But so
he said what, bass drum?
Yeah, like
bass drum.
Like
okay.
a marching bass drum.
Okay, gotcha.
Snare. And so like there's chants and whatnot that are the supporter section does, and he'll play to the chant, but then there's other times where he just kind of does a bass beat to keep the energy up.
Yeah.
And I'll just match the snare to what he's doing with it.
Are you standing snaring?
Yeah.
Or okay. So you got the band?
No, I had it on stand.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
okay.
So now I got to get a new one because it's a kit snare stand, so it was down at my thigh.
Yeah, that's why I was. This was as tall as you are, and doing
so
it. Yeah,
we're gonna get a raised a raised snare stand for next match. It was a blast, though.
You should do it like the Stray Cats guy did, playing the bass all the time. Have you seen the Stray? So he plays a stand-up bass, and there's this pole, and he is suspended on the pole while playing the bass.
Do what? The pawn shops? I don't know where the pawn shop is. Oh, a pawn shop. Shops. Pawn. I knew the word I was trying to say and failed anyway. I'm not a great radio. Yes. Not a great radio guy, Robert.
I'll show you that guy later. It's just a chance to show you something weird, which, I like doing that.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. Hello, America. Great to be back with you again. I am Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, in the chair directly across-ish from me. Appreciate you hanging out with us. So Game 5 went down on Saturday night, and it was an interesting one. Grab me, if you don't mind, clip 5. Lonzo, this is the end of what was a really, really good NBA game. I mean, a back-and-forth game. Giannis and Drew Holiday were absolutely clutch down the stretch. If you had not watched a game yet and you jumped in on Game 5, you didn't miss anything.
Here comes your winner right here.
Nope, that is not what I'm looking for. Did I put in the wrong one? Was that clip? No, number 5, sorry. Not the 5th clip. That's on me.
No, that would be on me. And I apologize because, again, you have a lot of these 3As, 4As, 5As, and I need to pay more attention.
That's on me. I'll organize better next
time.
I
ruined the whole show. You know what? I quit.
The whole show.
I quit.
It's ruined.
I am out of here.
It's over.
I'm done.
Why are we even doing this show?
Mark, I'm coming down the hall.
Booker has it. Booker leans in. That's a two-pointer. Shot won't go. Rebound tip taken by Tucker. Knocked loose. Back out to Booker. Final seconds. Deflected pull. A three-pointer. It's over. The Milwaukee Bucks are one win away from their first title in 50 years as they win on the road to take Game 5 and now lead 3 games to 2. The comeback falls short for Phoenix, a crushing loss at home. And now the series will go to Milwaukee where the Bucks can win it on their home floor.
What I love, though, was one particular moment. This is going to be 5A, Lonzo. What I loved about it was that unlike every one of these games has had a moment where you go, that's where the game flow changed. That's where back in games 1 and game 2, you had those moments with Chris Paul. Games 3 and 4, you can point where those moments. This game was no different. Here is the moment where the Bucks won this basketball game.
Suns have a timeout. Decide not to call it. Booker the drive, gets inside, leans in, knocked away and stolen by Holiday. Phoenix has to foul, and a pinnacle ball throws it down. And a foul. Giannis on the alley-oop. What a turnaround. A chance to take the lead and the turnover as the Bucks now up by 3 and a free throw coming up.
Yep. It was exactly that moment. And you could feel it when it happened. The game was over. The Suns were deflated. I know it sounds dramatic. It feels dramatic, but trust me, it was not dramatic. It was that moment, and exactly that moment when the Bucks became the team. And I'll tell you, I'm at the point now, and this, for whatever reason, it's been like this all playoffs long. I'm picking the Suns in Game 6, though, not because I think the Suns are a better team right now. They're not. Not because I think the Suns have momentum right now. They don't. But because in every playoff series in these finals so far, the minute it felt like there was a shift in momentum, like one team had clearly taken over the power structure of the series, the other team came out and won. We did the same thing. After game number 2, right? We came in here and it's like, oh man, this might be a sweep. This one's over. The Bucks don't have it. They're not the same team that we thought that they were. This thing is over. And then the Bucks have won 3 in a row. Why wouldn't the Suns win Game 6 the rate this is being played?
All right, I don't understand this team. I don't understand this mentality. Talking about the Suns, you come out and you destroy them in the first quarter. I mean, that was a beat down. And then you slowly let them back in the game. And as soon as Milwaukee took the lead for the first time, that's when the game was over. Because the Suns mentally, they're just not there. You got to have that put your foot on the throat kind of mentality. Hey, we are whipping their butts right now, and you got to do that for the entire game, not just one quarter. And I didn't get to see the first quarter because I was on my way home from work, but I was listening to it right here on this fine radio station. Good call, good radio call. And I'm like, okay, man, cannot wait to get home to see this. So by the time I get in the house, it's already a close game. And then I watched that lead just I just can't imagine. I mean, in the locker room, somebody's got to be saying something like, what are you guys doing? Why did you let them come back? I've never understood that. When you get that much of a lead, you gotta feel like, hey man, we are going to be the champions if we continue playing like this. And they didn't. We've talked before many times how these teams are fairly evenly matched. It isn't like, that Milwaukee is so much better than Phoenix. So you knew they were going to come back. You didn't know they were going to come back. That's how Phoenix can play, but apparently they can only do it for one quarter. Now, I mean, it was a competitive game the entire way, yep. But as soon as they let that lead go away, I figured they were going to lose.
Yeah, it really was interesting because it absolutely felt genuinely like the Suns were in control of that game until they weren't. And go back to Game 4, right? Same situation. The Suns had the Bucks on the ropes until the last, 2.5 minutes? And then the Bucks just started doing whatever they had to / wanted to Milwaukee.
It's that team.
To Phoenix,
it's that team that you hear about that has no idea how to close. And that's what this is. They have no idea how to close. This series had a good shot of being over if they actually understood how to do that.
I agree entirely. Phoenix has no idea how to close these games out. And they should have twice now. Game 4 should have been a win. Game 5 should have been a win. And they just flop. Let me go to clip number 7, if you don't mind, Zoe. Devin Booker, Chris Paul, and I forgot who the last clip was. Anyway, 3 Suns. Oh, Monty Williams, the coach. Monty Williams, Devin Booker, Chris Paul, all reacting to taking that L on the road.
We knew this wasn't going to be easy. We didn't expect it to be. And, I mean, it's hard. Coach said it all year long. Everything we want's on the other side of hard, and it don't get no harder than this. So we got to regroup, learn from this game, but it's over. We got to get ready for Game 6.
I mean, one at a time. Our focus is Milwaukee right now. That's how you have to do these series, one game at a time. And yeah, that's it.
Headspace, mental stamina, all that stuff. Like, it boils down to getting it done. We got to win one game to put them back on the plane. That's it, and you have to have that determination that you're willing to do whatever it takes to put them back on the plane. And so we can call it what we want to, mental toughness, all of that stuff, but it's going to be needed, and our guys are capable of doing it. This is our first time in this position, and we can do it.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know. And we can do it. I just thought
Monty Williams is pretty level-headed dude. Like he's not a guy that you're going to get a ton of emotion out of.
Well, maybe you need some. Maybe you need to go totally against your normal demeanor to get these guys revved up and ready to go, because whatever that was, whatever you tapped into in that first quarter of this last game, you need to find that and make sure it extends through an entire game.
I don't disagree with you at all. Don't disagree with you in the least. That was atrocious. And the last two games, the last 3 to 5 minutes of that game for Phoenix has been nothing short of atrocious. I agree with that entirely. I don't want to say that Chris Paul doesn't have that killer instinct, but a lot of people have said maybe that's why CP3 doesn't have not just a championship, but a finals appearance until this year. Give me clip number 6, if you don't mind. This is Coach Budenholzer, his response. And I want you to listen. We're going to play this and then a clip from Giannis responding to the dub and see if you genuinely hear a difference in the way that Bud is speaking and the way that Giannis speaks versus what we just heard from Devin Booker, Chris Paul, and Monty Williams.
Going home to our fans, going home to Milwaukee, is a great opportunity for us. But you got to go out and play. It's at this point, you could feel it tonight. The high level basketball on both sides of it. It's going to be the same in Game 6. Both teams are going to come out, expect really, really good basketball, and we're going to have to compete defensively. We're going to have to make plays, play together. It's more about that, but it's to be going home to our fans. Fiserv's been rocking. It's been huge for us. We're excited for our opportunity in Game 6.
That is Budenholzer, and now
hey, real quick.
Yeah.
Did they stop playing random? I'm just curious.
They stopped playing random. The answer is yes. The answer is yes. There is precision to their game now, and you could say that alley-oop play we played you a minute ago the audio of, that wasn't random. That was a Holiday steal. Look down the court. Giannis knew where to go. Holiday knew where he was going to be.
It does sound like a different guy talking. That's the reason why I'm pointing that out. It sounds like a totally different guy talking.
And I will give him this. Since that went away, Zoe, this is a different Bucks team.
He took the Rob Brown criticism as a pep talk.
He did.
And he changed his state of mind and how they play, and look what they're doing now.
We know Coach Bud's a big fan of the show, listens every day. He heard what we had to say. He took it to heart and look at the Bucks now. A game away from clinching a title as a small market team that gets told every year they can't do it. Here is 6A. This is Giannis Antetokounmpo's response to that dub. Listen to how he says what he says. Contrast it to D-Book and CP3.
Man, it means a lot, man, but I can't get too carried away. I got to stay in the present. Can't worry about the outcome. But, obviously, we know what the deal is. It's one game away from, being the NBA champ, being in the history of this game, being always there. Nobody can take that away from you. And, doing it in front of our families and our fans, it's big. It's going to be big, but that can wait. We got to focus and keep playing good basketball. We got to go back home. We got to recover. It's a test. It's a big test. And you got to enjoy the moment, okay? We have to enjoy the moment. Like winning a game on the road, we have to enjoy the moment. But the job is not done. We have to all realize that, and we got to stay in the present. It doesn't mean we're going to go back home and win Game 6, probably Phoenix thought the same thing. They're gonna come back home and win Game 5, come to Milwaukee and try to win again. But we gotta stay humble. We gotta be in the present. We gotta stay humble as much as possible. I feel like when this team is humble, this team is very, very dangerous. And I think we play at our best when we are humble.
Listen to Giannis. Giannis has decided to go modern day philosopher. Did you hear what he said on Friday? They were talking to him about the Friday before the game. Said, hey man, after that last dub, what did it mean to you looking back? And he says, if you look behind you, it's your ego. If you look ahead of you, it's your pride. Humility is staying in the moment and understanding what's happening in the moment. Giannis has just gone straight up philosopher on us all, and it's great. Tell me Giannis Antetokounmpo right now, Alonzo, isn't – I think I was having – as a matter of fact, Saturday night was having a conversation with a guy at a watering hole that I just met after the tryoff match. And he said that the Suns are America's team right now. And I said, what makes you say that? And he said, because who in America isn't pulling for Chris Paul right now? And I thought, it's a great thing, except for, Zoe, who in America hasn't jumped on Giannis's bandwagon right now? Giannis right now is just I don't know, and I'm sure there are some people that haven't. I don't even know if Zoe is one or isn't one before I set this up. But I got to tell you, Giannis in this postseason run, I think has won some people over.
I don't, as they say, have a dog in the hunt. I'm excited for whoever wins because either way, there's going to be. I think I read or heard, or maybe you even said there's only like one player, pretty much with playoff experience. So there's going to be an entire team that winning championship for the very first time. That's amazing. That's awesome.
He's not wrong.
And I mean that's really, really cool. So either way, I think it's good. I am rooting for the Suns just to prove I'm right to Mark Ryan. That's the only reason why. and we find reasons to root for whatever team we're rooting for, and that's the reason why, because that competition between he and I will go on as long as we're alive. So that's why I'm rooting for. But yeah, I love Giannis. Giannis is awesome.
Yeah.
Every time I go to the restroom, I think of him now, unfortunately, but that's fine.
I have to tinkle.
You know what? Right now, I have to tinkle.
Quick break. We're back after this to take a look ahead at Game 6 when we return on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate. Have to take a tinkle.
So think about it. What is pain keeping you from doing this summer? Right. It's a long list of things you enjoy, but no more thanks to QC Kinetics and new long-term solutions for pain relief. The natural biologic treatments at QC Kinetics address the root cause of pain in your knees, shoulders, hip, or back, helping deliver the relief you need so badly. Listen, don't spend one more day in pain. Call QC Kinetics today.
I did watch 2 of the 3, Steven. I finished Loki and I watched Space Jam. Did not get to Black Widow because the lady friend who has jumped in and we finished Endgame last week with her. said that she wants to watch Black Widow. So I got a weird week between tomorrow through Thursday being all over the states of South and North Carolinas. But I'm saving Black Widow for her because she asked me to, Steven, and I am a good boyfriend. So
there's a big controversy over Black Widow right now because it's down 65% in the box office and got totally destroyed by Space Jam.
I'm not surprised.
And theater owners are blaming it on Disney Plus having the pay $30 at home and watch it. They're blaming it on that.
Welcome to the future of the movies, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I think after the pandemic, I think we all realized that there are a lot of people who would rather watch movies at home than
Guilty.
Yeah, exactly.
I paid that $30. Watch it at home.
Considering, I mean, matinee movie tickets are like $17, $18 now. And then if you get a Coke and a popcorn, you're at $30 anyway. So why not watch it at the house?
And think if you're a family of even just a family of 4.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to save money by staying at home. I would say that it's not a reflection on the movie. I think the theater owners are right.
Yeah.
That's the reason why. But, they should have foresaw that.
You have to, I mean, the cost of the movies has to come down. It's just not an option anymore. And it's one of those things where, I've talked to the movie owners before who say that the reason the tickets are expensive is not because of them. It's because of the licensing from the studios that put the movies out. That's what they demand for the theaters to be able to afford to get the movie. If you're going to be Disney and start putting movies where you can buy them at home, you've got to decrease the cost.
Well, because think about it. I mean, the blockbusters is where they make the money. It's not the Oscar-worthy stuff.
Yeah,
it's stuff like this that everybody goes to see.
Yep. So what can be done for the Phoenix Suns if they want to come back and find a way to get back into the series with the Bucks? What can they do? The first thing that they can do is find a way to get Chris Paul back to the Chris Paul that he was to end the last series. Get Chris Paul back to the Chris Paul that he was to start this past series. He just hasn't been effective. He just hasn't been effective. It's just not been good. We talked about the turnovers in the last one. 5 turnovers, including a couple down the stretch. I look at Chris Paul in this one. -6 in the plus-minus category. And this isn't, look, a lot of times, this is why I'm always kind of halfsies on the plus-minus stat being a stat that we pay a bunch of attention to. A good chunk of the reason why is because if your team loses, yeah, of course you're likely going to be plus-minus. But look at this. Look at the plus-minus for the Suns. Bridges was +5. Ayton was +6. Booker was +12. Chris Paul -6. The only other guy who was minus in the plus-minus on the starting 5 for Phoenix was Jay Crowder, who was -7. Chris Paul, 9 of 15 from the floor. He was 3 of 3 from the arc, 0 free throws, 2 total rebounds, 11 assists, just 1 turnover. It's not a bad line for CP3, but it's not the line that was carrying the Phoenix Suns to victories in the sweep a few weeks back. It wasn't the line that carried Chris Paul and the Phoenix Suns in games 1 and 2. And while you don't want to be in a spot where you have to rely on a point guard who's on the wrong side of 30 to get you there, that's the team Phoenix built. And the thing that they didn't recognize going into this series, is that if there is a way to stop Chris Paul, it is by having a cat like Drew Holiday guarding him. As a Team USA basketball fan, I am thrilled watching what Drew Holiday's doing right now, because there has not been a spot after games 1 and 2. Lonzo, there hasn't really been a spot where Chris Paul has been able to consistently do Chris Paul things, and it is because of Drew Holiday. So either you got to figure out how to create a scheme that allows Chris Paul to be Chris Paul, or you got to reshift the game plan. And we didn't see either one of those two things happen in game 5.
So what you're saying is the coaching staff was smart enough to realize if they take Chris Paul out of it, they got a better shot at winning.
They'll figure it out. Exactly right. Exactly right. And that's exactly what happened. They said, we're going to put Drew Holiday, the best defensive guard in the NBA. We're going to put Drew Holiday on CP3. We want you to prevent him from doing CP3 things. That's what happened. So if you're Monty Williams, your game plan coming into game 6 on the road, you don't have an option here. Your game plan coming into game 6 here in Milwaukee has 100% got to, without question or concern, it 100% has to be, how do we open up the floor for Chris Paul, or write up a game plan that doesn't involve him? That's it. You may just have to get to a point now. If you are the Phoenix Suns, you may just have to get to a point, Lonzo, that your game plan is CP3 is nothing more than a distributor to Devin Booker now. You may just have to let D-Book be the number one without question. It's not D-Book and CP3 anymore. It's the Devin Booker show, maybe featuring Chris Paul.
Well, it's kind of been that, hasn't it, the last couple games? Would you risk just putting Chris Paul on the bench?
No, because I don't know that you have another option off the bench. I still need somebody who can move the ball. And I don't want Devin Booker to be responsible for ball movement as well. It's kind of like Kevin Durant. Durant's at his best when there is a guy who sets up Kevin Durant. D-Book's going to be at his best when there's a guy setting him up, and I don't know that they have that cat right now. And if they don't have that cat, they are up against it at this point. All right, quick break to get back on the clock. Come back, wrap up hour number 1. Tell you one more time, we got a weird week of broadcasting for you, but it's going to be a good one. We'll set that up for you when we come back on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
That is Shadows doing that, right?
What's that?
On Ahmad Rashad's neck.
Yes.
Was that?
Yeah, it doesn't look as bad on this one.
Yeah, you're right. That does. Weird.
Yeah.
So when you're in Charlotte, have you considered trying StreamYard, or you're just not going to?
Yeah, it's going to depend on what the setup is that they give me. I know we get a hardwire.
It's a hardwire. Yeah, and they.
So what I will probably do is bring my jetpack hotspot thinger, and then run my I'll run the Comrex off the hardwire, and then if I can get enough bandwidth off of that jetpack, then I'll run StreamYard off of my laptop. The only problem with that, it's not a problem. That's what I was doing at home. But the only problem with that is going to be all my show prep and everything's got to be done on my laptop too. So it'll be running.
There's a solution to that, but I think there's enough room is to get a work laptop.
Yeah.
And
that's not a bad idea.
The table, if the tables are the same size they were a couple years ago, there was enough room for Mark and I to sit there and not touch.
Okay.
Which is we're really fond of. So you could put the StreamYard computer, whichever one you're using for it, in the middle.
Yeah. The other thing is with two of us there, will I have the ability? I mean, I guess I could run the webcam and the webcam off the computer.
There's a problem with that with StreamYard. And it's a matter of how mics pick it up. And also the only solution I ever was able to come up with that using multiple cameras is having to run multiple StreamYards on the same computer.
I see what you're saying.
And that can bog things down. Unless, of course, you bring it. Is Mark bringing his laptop?
I don't know. I mean, I would hope so. Because he's still got to host his show. I'm hosting my show.
Yeah, I'm guessing, and I know we're on stream, but it doesn't matter. I'm guessing that he's going under the assumption that it's the way it was last time.
Yeah.
In which we brought laptops with us, if I recall. It was 2 years ago. So you might want to touch on that with him and see if he thinks that he's bringing his laptop or if one's being provided. Well, Steven, I can tell you I'm here the entire week for the entire show. Next Monday, though, I'm gonna have to go out early.
The show went from PG straight to R when Diesel showed up. Yep, that is correct.
There's probably some people would take offense to that, but I am not one. And by the way, if I was in my 20s, I would still be the same way I am now. So it isn't because of age. That's just me. So there's a reason why everyone's parents was okay if their kids went with me somewhere. And I forgot, I have stayed in that hotel before.
Yeah.
And it's nice. Raven was in a volleyball tournament in Charlotte. There's a convention center fairly close to there, within walking distance. And yeah, and there's not too far away, I forget what it's called, but there's like a center downtown that has a bunch of restaurants and a bowling alley and a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
That was really cool. I'm guessing it's still there because it was a couple years ago, but it has a name, but I don't remember what it is.
Sincere question. Give me clip 1 if you don't mind, Lonzo. Do you guys care about Cam Newton anymore? Like, is Cam Newton a topic that we should discuss? Here's why. I'm going to play you a clip. Cam Newton got interviewed where he was talking about his time with the Patriots, about the Patriots drafting Mac Jones out of Alabama, and he's not upset about it, but here's what Cam Newton had to say.
Come on, man. Let's be honest. I've been playing this game long enough to know, like, that's the right pick. And I've said it numerous of times that, what you're not going to get out of me as a disgruntled person. Mac and Cheese is a person who is, ever since I've seen him, has came on into the locker room with the business approach, doing the initiatives of learning his teammates, understanding that, I got to raise my level of play, from the collegiate level to the professional level. And I'm here for him. And as well as he is here for me, just like, Stidham, just like Brian Hoyer. It's no different. Our job is to be the best player that we could possibly be for the New England Patriots. No matter what is asked of us, it's our job to be that. Yeah, I take it personal. Yeah, I take it, in a way that I know who I am. At times I do remind myself, people forget who you are and what you've done. So now, I'm in a position now where, I need to be my best self and it's really put up or shut up time.
So Cam says it's put up or shut up time. He's not offended by them drafting, quote, Mac and Cheese, end quote. Says it's time for him to go out and earn the contract that he's been given, that 1-year deal, to prove that he's still got it. My question to y'all is, do y'all care enough for me to justify special breakout segments about Cam Newton? I get the impression last year people were kind of intrigued, right? He did a lot for the Panthers, did a lot for Carolina, made a lot of mistakes, but also was the backbone of that franchise for a long time.
By the way, with camp coming up, you never got to see what Cam did in camp and how beloved he was by everyone in Spartanburg and all the Panther fans. So I say, yeah, keep talking about it.
Yeah, I again, there's a lot of folks that have told me just how beloved Cam Newton was as a dude here in the area. And a lot of people have followed him to New England, and a lot of haven't. So we can have a segment where we will talk about Cam's ability to succeed in New England this year. My question is, Do the people of the upstate care anymore about Cam Newton? Enough to justify that? Shoot us a text, 844-477-3776. The number, text us on the Ingles Market text line at 71307, 71307. Hour 2 just around the corner on the Rob Brown Show at ESPN Upstate.
I want to apologize for pushing the wrong button. I just saw Diesel dressed in all yellow, and it just kind of threw me off. He just posted it on Facebook. It's just not that it's a bad look for him or anything. It just, wasn't ready for
dressed
it.
like a banana?
Oh, no, I think he's wearing his school colors, I believe. Cam did take the Panthers to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And he wasn't really a problem on the team. It wasn't like some people may have questioned his ability.
Yeah.
But they forget the kind of records he set as a rookie.
It was a stud in his prime.
I think after his car accident, he was never quite the same. I remember being live on the air when that happened. And I remember it more because a fill-in co-host at the time wanted to report everything that he saw instead of going, listen, man, let's get some more sources here before you start reading all that.
Ooh, Shinsuke just busted out the GTS.
Do what?
Said Shinsuke just busted out the GTS.
I think it's funny that someone on the Facebook stream saw the at the bottom. You don't see it on the stream. The comment.
Splash.
You don't even remember doing it.
Oh,
you putting that so far out of your mind. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't do anything.
I didn't do anything wrong.
I did nothing.
Oops.
Although it could be just the fact that I handed you paper towels that people probably figured out that something happened. Could have been much worse. And I've seen things where the board is smoking and an engineer has to be called.
Our numero dos of the Rob Brown Show gets underway now. Hello, upstate South Carolina. I am Rob Brown, the great one. Lonzo, sitting across from me. It's Monday, baby! You know we come in here with some energy, some enthusiasm. Try to get your work week started off the right way. Real quick, I went back and forth about whether or not I was going to do this or not. I want to make one thing abundantly clear about this show because I think there's been some level of, attitude shift about this broadcast and about my show and how me and Lonzo handle it and how it gets handled by the station itself. I want to be abundantly clear about something. I made a liner last week that ran over the weekend, and it to me is what I think is the best way to describe this show, which is that we take sports seriously, but not ourselves. All right? if I got an email, I guess Friday afternoon it was. I got an email Friday afternoon that basically was like a 3-paragraph summary of we're not grown up enough and we're not adult enough. And if we have these microphones, it's our responsibility to be adult and mature and approach sports in a professional manner. And I can tell you that one thing you will never hear me and Lonzo accuse. You will hear us accused of spending too many hours in the office. It's happened. Of putting too much effort into segments. It's happened. You will hear me accused of going too many places to the detriment of the show, look, I'm out tomorrow. I'll be at Clemson at Media Day. I'll be in Charlotte on Wednesday and Thursday.
All right, let's clarify. He's going to be on the road, but he's still going to be on the show.
Yeah, I'm still going to be on the show. Yeah, let's clarify that. Correct. We like to be able to go out and do stuff. We like to be able to participate in the community and all that. But one thing you will never hear Lonzo and I accused of being is overly professional. All right? It's not going to happen. Zoe and I are professionals.
I'm so offended.
Right? We are professionals.
I know you seem like you're trying to be serious here. I apologize, but it's just more proof that what you're saying is true.
No need to apologize. You're proving my point for me. We are professionals. You don't get to this point in this career without being professionals, right? If we get asked to do something, it gets done. If we get told to go somewhere, we get gone. All right. As I've told people in the past, for every 3 hours that you hear Lonzo and I do on the radio, it takes 3 to 5 hours to pull together. All right. When I get done here, I'm in the studio in the office until, I don't know, 6 to 7 o'clock pretty much every afternoon. When I'm at home, I'm paying attention to sports. I'm making sure that everything that's sportsy that needs to be paid attention to is, so that we know exactly what's coming up the next day. I'm in here between 9:30 and 10 every morning, making sure that all the sound that needs to be grabbed is grabbed. But when we are on the air, here's the reality. I have long described this show one way. This show is a radio version of if we were all sitting on a stool at a sports bar chatting. All right? Yeah, most of the time, you are going to hear us talk about sports. Most of the time, because we're in a sports bar. But if you've ever gone to a sports bar to watch the big game with your amigos, you know that you are going to spend quite a bit of time talking about all the other things going on in your life and the lives of the people around you, right? If you go out, you're going to talk. Hey, my wife did this. My kids did this. My friends did this. This thing happened. That thing happened. Of course you are. That's part of the fun. That's part of the fun. So this show, it's not, you're not going to want to tune in if what you're looking for is Robinson. Now, we do statistics. Here's what Chris Paul's stat line was versus what it was in game 4 versus what it was in game 2. But it's not like over, and we're not going to spend 3 segments deep jumping on that. And yeah, occasionally we're going to do some stuff that's just kind of goofy and fun because that's what we want to do. And I'm trying not, this is a statement I've made on shows in years past that some people have thought was problematic. I don't, because I don't care. But we like to have fun. Our job, let me rephrase that. The way that our job is very simple. Get ratings, allow the people downstairs to go sell the show and bring money into the radio station. That's it. That's our job. There's a lot of elements that make that up. At the end of the day, if I had to boil it down to a sheet, with one line on it, it would be get ratings so the salespeople can sell it and get more money into the station. Yes. And that's why we ask you, if you like the show, if you like Lonzo and I, if you like this station, tell your friends about it. Tell your families about it. Tell them that own businesses in your circle about it so we can get them on the air to sponsor us so that we can keep doing this fun job. But the theme of the show, the way that I run the show is this. The majority of people who listen to us, what's our estimated time spent listening for people in the lunchtime bracket, Lonzo?
15 to 20 minutes.
About 15 to 20 minutes. We got you guys. We got some hardcore P1s that hang out the whole 3 hours. Love y'all. Mean it. Sincerely. Appreciate it. We got a handful of folks that stick for an hour. Their whole lunch break is with us. They spend their lunch break with us. We appreciate y'all to the moon. I mean that.
I can't do that heart thing.
The heart thing?
I'll try.
The Taylor Swift thing?
I'll try to do it for the stream. I can't do it.
We love y'all. We love the folks who spend their entire time your lunch break. But the majority of y'all get about 15 minutes with us on the daily. Tops.
Here's what I would say to this. The person who sent you the email, they are not the norm. They are the anomaly. I think there are some hardcore people out there that, sports is a business to them. It means way too much to them, to the point where those are the people who get sick when their team loses and things like that. But we are on the air talking about kids' games that adults are getting to play. So we get to talk about what a cool job this is. But I think it's also a reflection of maybe the emailer probably doesn't have fun at his or her job. And I think people who don't have fun at their job are sometimes jealous of people who do. And the other thing is, if we weren't, the promos are a reflection of the show, not just this show, but Offsides is the same way. It's they have a lot of fun on that show. And that's what sports should be. If it's nothing but straight up stats and a flatline voice that should be on NPR the entire time, where's the fun in that? And we take jabs at the other show too, but that show is an awesome show. This show is an awesome show. We're here to have fun. And we hope that when you turn on the radio, maybe you're not having such a good day and you hear someone laughing and having a good time, and maybe you smile just a little bit, then we've done our job.
Yeah, it's real simple. I understand what it's like to work in an office where it's just not a lot of fun. And for many people, myself for many years included, I used to be, this is true, Zoe, I used to work in an insurance agency where my job was literally go through files and find a number. Be 10, 15, 20 pages worth of policy, and there would be a number in that book that I had to go find. I was the head teller at a bank for 2 years. I had to deal with Karens and their money. It's miserable. And my lunch break was the highlight of the day. That was it. I got to go sit outside on the back porch of the bank and tune into whatever sports show was on the radio. And I remember, and part of the reason the show was this way, I remember there were times where I'd go out back and I'd turn on the sports show and it would just be some dude who was taking sports very seriously. And I'm not denigrating that.
There is a market for that.
Yeah.
There is. There are some people that are into that.
Absolutely. I'm not knocking it, but it's just not my style. I got 50 minutes to sit out back and eat my lunch and listen to sports talk. And I already got enough serious crap in my life to deal with. Sports are supposed to be fun to me. Supposed to be entertaining to me. Doesn't mean, just to be clear, and I think, Zoe, we've had this conversation many times, it does not mean that there is never a time where a conversation about sports needs to get serious. And we're going to do that on the show too. There are times when there are conversations within sports that need to be serious and need to be taken seriously. But I know that most of the time, if somebody tunes into the Rob Brown Show, that person has about 15 to 20 minutes And I want them to have a laugh. I want them to have a laugh. It's a break, right? Every time politics comes into sports, what's the call we get? Hey, Rob, stick to sports. Sports are supposed to be a break from real life, not an extension of them. And I've said many times, sports and real life are a Venn diagram. Most of sports circles over here and most of life circles over here. And there's a little bit overlap where you have to talk about both. What happened at the Nationals game this weekend where a shooting happens at the park during a game? It sucks, but that is an intersection of real life and politics. We got to talk about it. But most of the time, sports is a distraction from life, a sidebar from life. And yeah, if you only have 15 or 20 minutes to break away from life, I want you to be able to come here and have a laugh, have a joke. Just why, like I said, my description of this show is all of us sitting at bar stools, having a cocktail, having a beer at lunch, and laughing off the world. So if you were the guy or the gal, whoever it was, that wrote me an email and said, Rob, you have a responsibility to be more serious. Stop making dumb jokes. Nobody likes puns. This might not be the show for you. I'm not saying don't listen.
Puns are very subjective. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Lonzo doesn't like puns either.
Yeah, I'm okay with puns. Maybe I'm just not good at it. Jealousy.
Word. Said it there. Like, it's also, anyway.
I was going to point when you said that. Anyway.
Word. Here's the thing. I want everybody to enjoy this show. That's the goal. That's why we do it. I want everybody to enjoy the show. But the reality is, the show's not for everybody. There have been many of y'all who have been willing to tell me to my face, I don't like Mark Ryan's show, but I love yours. And there are people who have told Mark Ryan to his face, I don't like Rob's show, but I like yours. And that's the point.
I don't believe that one. But
I've watched it happen. Watched it happen.
Oh, in front of you, didn't know that you were actually he?
Yes. Yes.
That's when you go, hi, I'm Rob Brown.
And I have. You want to hear the worst story? We were at a Triumph game earlier this year. And this guy comes up to me. He goes, hey, man, I moved here from Philly a while back. I found your show. I love it. I listen every day, all 3 hours, dude. Love your show. And I said, thanks, man. I appreciate it. We talked for a minute. And I said, hey, just out of curiosity, what do you think about Mark Ryan's show? And he goes, Mark was right next to me. He didn't know it was him. And I felt like an ass. Like an ass. But it made me laugh.
It's a good thing that our roles weren't reversed because I would have had a lot more fun with that. Really, what do you not like about the show?
Specifically.
Is it the looks of the host? What is it?
So anyway, yeah, it basically boils down to the show's not for everybody. Hey, no show is for everybody. All right? No show's for everybody. But I want those of you who want to have a laugh and take a break from real life and also talk sports to have the opportunity to do that here, to have some fun with us, which is why I make terrible dad jokes routinely, because it makes me laugh. And I hope it makes some of y'all laugh too. That's the point. That's the goal. All right, 844-477-3776, 844-GSP-ESPN. The Ingles Market text line is there for you as well. You can text us at 71307 on the Ingles Market text line, 71307. It is open for you. Let's see. Texter says at ESPN, if y'all want to talk about getting serious, get your own dedicated text line for the love of God. At ESPN, y'all are sounding butthurt AF. Just move on. Okay, we'll move on.
Wait. I want to address the texter pretty soon. So typing in ESPN upstate. So it's typing in. It's tough on you. You don't have to. We'll still see it. It just makes it easier.
Yeah, we will still see it.
That's true. We'll still see it.
At ESPN, Rob, one minor correction, a sports bar in New Orleans, LOL. I talk New Orleans sports when it is directly connected to ours, all right? Zion is the time like that. Carolina plays in the same division. Stop it. At ESPN, Rob, that person sounds like an ass. We love the show. Keep it up. Oh, it's not going to change, all right? It's not going to change. The only way this show gets changed is if the big boss walks down the hall and says, your show sucks, change it, which so far hasn't happened.
See, this is why it's good that I'm not in charge, because I would hear this segment and then I would have you and me into the office and go, you know what?
We need to talk about the direction of the show.
I've been thinking about some changes, and I would just quote that email, the entire thing. Here's what I want you to do now. You need to go more into stats. You need to be a little less fun and, quit straying away from sports. This is a sports show after all.
All right, now that we've had some fun, now that we've had a laugh, let's come back and talk about Michael Irvin's comments about the Cowboys and vaccination rates in the NFL. Look at the face of excitement pouring off Alonzo. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate. I'll be right back. I have to think.
I don't think it ever will not be funny. By the way, I will take the Pat McAfee comparisons. Love Pat McAfee. Except he goes a little too far. That's why it's good I'm not a producer on the show, although he is, online, so he can say whatever he wants. And Keegan, if you're still there, want to know about the Cena talk. Rob hasn't watched all of it yet. He knows about it, but he hasn't watched all of it yet. So that's one thing I don't get. So he doesn't believe in spoilers, but he has alerts on his phone which gives spoilers, because that's all alerts are, especially when it comes to wrestling. It just it's counterproductive. I just don't get it. Unless he secretly has a hotline to the wrestling writers' room and he knows exactly what's going to happen, which could be a possibility. He does have some buddies that are higher up, I suppose. All right, so he hasn't watched all of it, by the way. He is watching he might indeed be watching it as we speak. Probably not in the restroom, but so by the end of the show, possibly he will have watched the entire thing.
Say that again? What were y'all talking about? What I miss?
We were talking about you.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. I watched Loki. I watched Space Jam. I'm caught up on everything Marvel.
Well, we were talking wrestling.
I'm literally watching it right
Which
now.
is what I said.
Yeah.
But I also said, you who hate spoilers have alerts for wrestling. That's spoiling. If you get sent an alert, you've just been spoiled. I mean, so.
You're not wrong. So here's the thing. The alerts that I get for wrestling come through ESPN, which I can't turn off the ESPN alerts because that's
you
a
could.
chunk of what I talk about.
Yeah, I know, but you could.
And I guess I could go through and independently turn off.
You know what you could do is when you see but you have to look at it in case it's. I get it, but my wife was getting WWE alerts because we order a bunch of shirts and things, and she finally turned it off. She's like, I keep getting spoiled. I don't want to know what's going on. I was like, yeah, turn it off. You don't need to have it on. And yes, my wife is a wrestling fan. She watched all of Money in the Bank with me last night.
Rob, not watch something, and you are not caught up on everything Marvel, Black Widow. Hello. Yeah, I know. I told you, the lady friend asked me to wait to watch Black Widow with her.
There is a real reason why we're all wanting you to watch it, and we can't talk about it because I am waiting for something, and I can't say anything because I don't want to give it away, and I want to. I'm awaiting reaction.
So here's the thing. I've got to get everything ready to go spend 2 days in Charlotte. I don't have tomorrow because I'll be in Clemson all day and then have a trivia game tomorrow night. Or else I can't promise I can watch it tonight. I'll try. If I get everything ready for Charlotte before like 6:30 tonight, then I'll try to go watch it tonight. But I got to be in Clemson at like 7:30 tomorrow morning. I'll be there all day. I come straight back, host trivia. Then I got to get up and drive to Charlotte at like 6 a.m.
If we were on the air, I'd be playing the violins right now because it's a hard life, man. It really is.
I agree. It is. Thank you for acknowledging that.
That's what I'm here for. That's what the shoulders are for. And yes, don't tell the boss I'm finishing up a game that I was playing earlier so I can turn it off the phone because I don't want it to drain my phone. So it's a game that I'm level 570 something on.
What game is it?
It's a Dragon Ball game called Dokkan Battle.
I saw an ad for that.
It's an excellent game.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is ESPN Upstate. I am Rob Lonzo sitting across from me. Join the Facebook stream at facebook.com/ESPN Upstate. Want to let you know that starting today through the week, 5 days of comprehensive first-round NBA mock draft presented by the Locked On Podcast Network and Odyssey. It is the 2021 Ultimate NBA Mock Draft, the biggest NBA mock draft of the year. Locked On local and national experts will be joined by former NBA GM Ryan Badana, NBA champion Brian Scalabrine, Coach Jimmy Patzos, and NBA draft expert Chad Ford to bring you in-depth analysis for each pick you will find nowhere else. And they'll be joined by local Odyssey hosts from within market with expertise of all NBA teams all week long. Subscribe to the Ultimate Mock Draft 2021 podcast on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast. All right. Let's get a couple of thoughts in here. So Michael Irvin spoke out and got a lot of play over the weekend when he said that the Dallas Cowboys should be upset that not enough players got the vaccination to reach the 85% mark. The 85% threshold was set by the NFL. And basically, if your team gets to the 85% vaccinated threshold, then you will have COVID regulations removed for your training camp. However, if your team does not get to that 85% mark, then there will be restrictions that remain on you and in place for the foreseeable future. And there's a lot of people who are very upset about that, but them's the rules put in place by the NFL. Michael Irvin, the great Dallas Cowboy wide receiver, number 88 in the program, said, quote, "It should upset them. It should upset them. Dude, you're not thinking right. You're not thinking right. Whatever you got, I don't give a damn. Nothing else can be more important. You're not going to get this, winning a Super Bowl, easily. Nothing else could be more important." Jimmy made that abundantly clear, talking about Jimmy Johnson during his playing days with the Cowboys. Nothing else is more important. And not being one of the teams that says there's other things to a great number of people on this team that are more important than winning championships, that makes me worried, end quote. He went on to say, quote, "If you're not one of the teams, are you really thinking about winning a championship? ? You see what I'm saying? Okay, so now if you're not getting vaccinated and you got all these other teams that are getting vaccinated, somebody in that damn locker room should say, hey, man, we're going to have a chance. Are you vaccinated? Let's go through this because this could be a 2-week healthy dude missing games. And in this league, this ain't the NBA. In this league, that could be it for you. The right person misses 2 weeks. That's it. your ass is out, end quote. Talking, of course, about the playoffs and the race to get through them to the Super Bowl. So Mike Irvin says, if you are not willing to get vaccinated right now, that means that you've got other things on your brain besides winning a championship. And if winning a championship isn't the number one priority to you, according to Mike Irvin, you won't. Fair or out of bounds from Mike Irvin, Lonzo?
I'm going to cross the streams here a little bit. The entire Loki series was about something called free will.
Mm-hmm.
And in this country, we have free will. Now, unless the vaccines are mandatory, which they are not.
So far, they're not.
They are. So no one is breaking any rules by not doing it. So they have free will to decide one way or the other. If everybody on that team were completely vaccinated, Dallas still isn't going to win a Super Bowl. This is just a built-in excuse by Mr. Excuse Maker, who makes excuses every single year for how bad Dallas is, and he's just finding something else to jump on to say, see, this is all your fault because you didn't do this. I mean, something else it does. It creates controversy right before they're on Hard Knocks, doesn't it? Which makes you want to watch to see, wow, I wonder what the backlash is of Michael Irvin saying this. Will that actually, him saying that, will that be on Hard Knocks?
I would bet you it will. I would bet you there'll be a big focus on this.
So there's a show to sell, and suddenly Michael Irvin is everywhere.
So my question here is, I got a couple of things. First and foremost, let's begin with the disclaimer that has to be issued every time this conversation comes up on this show. You have the right to decide if you get vaccinated or not. Of course you do. Of course you do. It's not mandated. I don't think they can mandate it. I don't think the league can mandate it. I don't think the league would mandate it. However, as we have also said many times, and I'm on board with your choice to get it or not. However, all of that being said, there are consequences to your decision not to. There are regulations in place that if you're going to play, you agree to them or you don't. Just like every place of work, all right? True story, Lonzo. I got fired from a job one time for not wearing socks, right? And when I got called in, written up for not wearing socks, and the boss said, hey, man, it sucks, but you signed on agreeing to the dress code, and the dress code says you got to wear socks, and you didn't wear socks. I went, that is a very dumb regulation, but I did sign the contract, and I did break it. And if that's enough for you to fire me, that's fine, but it's dumb and I don't want to work here anymore. And the players have the option to do the same thing. If you don't like the COVID protocols, you're not obligated to play under them. You're not. There's nothing that says you must be an NFL player. It is your decision to make.
Right. And if someone makes that decision, trying to shame them into doing otherwise, it's not going to work. It's wasted breath. By this time, you're either on one side or the other. There shouldn't be one side or another, but there are. You're either on one side on whether you're going to be vaccinated or you're not. Michael Irvin is not going to convince you. He's not going to shame you into doing it. It's just wasted breath. It's wasted time. It's just him trying to get publicity for Hard Knocks.
Now, I'm going to disagree with you on that. I'm going to disagree. I think Michael Irvin is frustrated, and I think he has a right to be. I think a team functions at its best when the team is on one page and can remain on one page and can stay on one page and can do things together as a team. We had this same discussion a while back when we talked about the premise of teams being able to sit down and have meals on the road together, right? And my opinion is, if a team is able to be in one place together as a team, top to bottom, with no distraction, they're going to be a better team for it. The chemistry is better. The morale is better. The communication is better than if you got some guys over here and some guys are locked in the hotel room and these guys can work in the gym together, but these five guys, they can only be in the gym by themselves together at the same time. It breaks up team cohesion.
Yeah,
and at the NFL level, that is incredibly important.
But that's been proven wrong. It's been, I mean, Tampa Bay won a championship. How much chemistry did they have?
Right, but they were on the same page as everybody else. Everybody was in the same protocols as them. Now you've got, I think, I don't know if Carolina hasn't announced whether they're going to hit the threshold or not. They won't have to because they're still, 2 weeks away from camp? Week and a half?
I got to say, I don't, when I'm looking at my team, that's not the first thing or ever a thing that I'm going and looking for. I'm just not looking for that. That a publicity thing. That's what that is. What it comes down to, this is a business that can decide, hey, we're not gonna put that out there, but they're putting that out there, and they don't need to. And a lot of players are asking, and players respond by, well, that's up to me and my family.
Sure.
In other words, it's none of your business. Sure. Now, the people who ask the question, if they answer that way, right away they think, well, he didn't get vaccinated.
Absolutely.
And so you're forming a pit, and so right away, if you have to be vaccinated guy, you automatically think less of the person who didn't. This is causing division where it's not necessary. If you don't make it a rule that everyone has to be vaccinated, then you don't need to be putting it out in the public that some people aren't. Because what you're saying is people aren't complying to a rule that you didn't really make. You didn't say you have to do it. So if you don't have to do it, why do we need to know that some people didn't?
So because
you're making it a publicity stunt.
No, I disagree with you. Because there is a rule that says if your team gets to 85%, you can operate as a fully functioning, non-prohibited from any activity style team. And if you are like me, and a lot of coaches and Michael Irvin who believe that it is more important that you be able to function as a team normally. You're right. It is not mandated that an individual player gets a vaccination, but it is mandated the team gets to 85% in order to be able to have a team meal, live together, etc.
You've been in locker rooms and things. So you're a reporter and you're there and you notice that certain players aren't there. So you compile a list to say these players are having to be off because they're not. Didn't you just single those players out?
Yes.
Why is that news?
Because they
why
are the reason that the team's not at 85%. They're the reason.
It's not really news.
It's
not.
News.
No, what it is, it's segregation. What it is saying these people are lesser because they made a decision, even though the decision is theirs to make. And as is pointed out on the stream, yeah, there are consequences when you make decisions. Yes, that goes along with free will. There are consequences. If I decide to do something that's against the grain and it costs everybody, yeah, I cost everybody. I have to deal with that. But I'm not going to go and say, this guy didn't do this. This guy didn't do this. Shame, shame, shame. And yes, I backed away from the mic when I did that because I am a broadcast professional.
Correct, a professional. No, it's yes, I will single them out. And I will single them out because they are doing something detrimental to the team. That's the reason. Not getting to that 85% threshold and costing the team, whether you like that the protocols are there in place or not, right? We had the same thing because when we talked about Sha'Carri Richardson, the Olympic runner, that I said it is very dumb that because of weed, she can't run in the Olympics. And you said to me, Lonzo, well, she knew the rules, she knew the protocol, she knew the regulations, she broke them anyway, she gets the punishment. I agree with you. I agree. It's a dumb rule. I don't like the rule. I don't think it is any need for the rule. But she did break the rule that she signed up for, and there are consequences. These guys aren't breaking any rules, but they are preventing their team from being able to function as a team in all aspects and facilities. So yes, they will be singled out. It is still their decision to not care that they are being singled out. It is still their decision to not care if they are the reason that their team can't work out together, can't eat meals together, et cetera. It's still their decision. I agree. But yeah, I'm going to single them out for it. Of course I am. Just like if there was an offensive lineman who who was a good offensive lineman, who was capable of blocking, but said, you know what? I'm good enough that I don't want to lift weights. I don't want to lift weights. It's against my code. I don't want to lift weights. I would single that cat out for not lifting weights. Even if it was his decision and it violated some personal code of ethics he didn't want to violate, I would still go, yeah, but you're making the team worse off for it. It's a trap. Bravo. Well done. Thank you for doing that. Yeah, he's going to get singled out. And I will be the journalist. I'm not a journalist. I'm an analyst. But I'll be the journalist if I was a journalist who would do it. Because you're making the team worse off.
And I would say that's bad form. And that would turn me off from whoever was doing that. Whoever was making that list to point it out, even though it wasn't mandatory, to point out these guys aren't doing this, even though it wasn't mandatory, these people are lesser. You should think less of these people. You should shun them. You should shame them because they didn't conform to what everyone else did.
I didn't say any of that. I just said the team can't operate as a team because of this guy. You decided to imply that I was calling him a bad person. I didn't call him a bad person. I wouldn't call him a bad person. I haven't called a single person. I believe you should be vaccinated. I think it's the right decision.
I can't get that Red song stuck out of my head. I say freak when they're singled out. But anyway, that's what I hear every time you're singling them out. You're pointing out what they and what you're saying. If you single a group out and say they're not doing this and they're hurting the team, then what you're doing is you're saying they're lesser or they're selfish or they're whatever. You still are trying to put shame on them to get them to do something to conform to what you believe is the right thing to do.
All I said was this team can't operate as a team because of them. That's it. That's it. Nothing else. If you want to decide that I am persecuting this person, that's your call. And it's a call of the fans and it's a call of the other teams. Hell, if the rest, because here's the thing, if it's not that big of a deal to the rest of the players, then the vaccinated players can rally around the players that are their boys who have decided not to get vaccinated and go, hey, we want y'all to stop. We want y'all to stop. We don't want y'all to point out who's not vaccinated. But you haven't seen a single vaccinated player doing that. And considering 13 teams have made it to this threshold.
But have we seen, other than Michael Irvin, who hasn't played it down in forever, have we seen someone presently going on a crusade say, I want every player on this team to do this. And I'm making it personally my goal to get everyone to do this. No, we haven't seen that.
We have seen active players campaigning for vaccinations.
We'll see at the end of the season if this hurts, which we know it possibly can and probably will, the fact that someone will catch it and it will cost them some playing time. We will see if at the end of the season, the locker room guys decide, we don't want this guy on the team anymore because he didn't get vaccinated.
I'd be interested to see if that happens.
I hope it doesn't, because then everything I've just said is absolutely true.
I think that if I am on a team and my number one goal is to win a Super Bowl, which it is, and there are guys on a team doing anything that takes away from that goal. Joe Bright brought up a good point in the Facebook stream. A couple of years ago, Allen Iverson didn't want to go to practices. Didn't want to practice. And got absolutely raked over the coals for.
And now the thing that he's more famous for than anything he ever did on the court is
practice.
that.
We talking about practice. Not a game. Not a game out low. We talking about practice. Absolutely. He got raked for it. And deservedly so.
But did he really?
Yes.
Did he really? I don't.
At the time, I think he's rebounded from that image-wise. Now he's one of the most beloved point guards of all time. But he was raked for that.
But players were on his side. Players were absolutely on his side.
A couple, just like there are a couple players that are on the side of you in this case, I guess. I'm trying to think of another player, but on your side here. But the point that I would make
is... You mean on the side of free will? Okay.
On the side of, yes, it is your decision. I agree. I'm on your side in that aspect. It is your decision whether or not you want to get the jab. It is absolutely your decision. Do I think it's a bad decision? Personally, yeah, I don't see why you wouldn't. Do I think this
is your decision, but I'm going to hound you. I'm going to shame you. I'm going to make sure that I do everything that I possibly can to point out that you're not doing what is supposedly your decision.
Wait a minute. Didn't you rake Tom Brady over the coals for getting drunk? He didn't put anybody in danger. He didn't hurt anybody, but didn't you rake him over the coals for him getting drunk? Hang on, he's got to get the. It's a
No,
trap.
no, I'm not even going to get it because these things they're the apples and oranges.
But why?
They're apples and
why?
oranges.
Why?
They're apples and
It
oranges.
was his decision. He didn't hurt anybody else. In fact, had other people there to ensure that he didn't hurt anybody else. But you raked Brady for getting drunk. But I'm not supposed to rake a guy for not getting
all right, because it
vaccinated.
really sounded like you said that I raped Brady for yeah
with a K.
yeah enunciation there. It's just yeah. Thank
With a
you,
K.
thank you. Throw the lisp in there now. I know for sure.
You raked Brady for being drunk, which endangered absolutely no one else. But I can't rake a guy for not getting the vaccination, which definitely does. Not endanger, but prohibit them from winning a Super Bowl.
Here's why this is a trap, listeners, and we're way late for a break, by the way. If you say certain things, hosts of every single show will only remember things that they can use against you. They won't remember the fun stuff, but the things that they think they can use against you, they will remember that stuff.
We talked wrestling during the break.
They will remember that stuff forever.
I think my point stands, however.
And I think I'm right.
And I think my point stands. It is your choice. But every choice you make comes with societal consequences as well as physical ones.
This
is one.
Tom Brady, apparently the only way to get me to shut up.
Tactical cough button. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate.
We really did go pretty late.
Mm-hmm. Next segment's a high-buy segment.
Bye-bye.
Roman v. Edge is fun.
What it is after how hectic Money in the Bank was, the fact that it's slowed down, it's methodical, it's perfect.
I like it.
Yeah. So now you know that Big E won.
Yes.
That's why I discussed this Saturday. So now Big E needs to redeem his boy for getting totally destroyed.
Go after Lashley.
And then they put the New Days back together again.
I agree.
And it makes perfect sense. And Lesnar can come into play, and SummerSlam would be the best place. But at the same time, this story is so fresh with what just happened to Kofi and all the stuff that's going on between them.
Yeah.
And I want to see that match. I want to see Big E versus
Lashley,
because unless he gets squashed.
Yeah. Which I don't think you can. You can't have him one. Well, I mean, I guess you could. You've had Money in the Bank cash-ins fail.
Xavier Woods had a better match.
Do you have Kofi ask for his rematch? Here's my fantasy book. You ready? Kofi asked for his rematch. He asked for it in a steel cage again. You lock the cage. You have Xavier come out from underneath. You have the two of them just beat the hell out of Lashley. Then you have Big E come in and cash and be allowed into the cage, shut the door behind him, and win it that way. There's my fantasy book. You're welcome.
I'd be down for that. I know it's a heel move, but who cares?
Oh, who cares?
I mean, yeah. As far as them, they can be
one of the few faces that
heel
move.
They can be tweener. Yeah. I mean, they do some things that are heelish and get away with it because of who they are. Golf cart in the next break.
Perfect.
We're gonna find out tonight if they're going that direction.
Yeah.
Because.
Yeah, tonight's a must watch Raw.
Because unless he's going to wait till the end of a match, we know Big E is not going after Roman Reigns. And and him going after Bobby Lashley just makes so much sense. I also saw Cena's going to be on Raw tonight. Gee, I wonder, you think that maybe Cena has a movie getting ready to come out or something, and then suddenly he just shows back up in the WWE.
It's promotional? Are you kidding me?
He looks really small.
He really does.
You know, The Rock, he ain't let himself go. He stayed in incredible shape.
I mean, John Cena's not in bad shape.
I don't know. He didn't take the shirt off. He could
as jagged as he used to be.
Yeah.
Oh, Rollins came out to beat up Edge. Steven says, I hate that emailer. See what happened?
All right. So if you're watching on the stream, you would see this and you would notice there's a trend. When Rob and I get heated about something during the break, we
just go back to wrestling.
We immediately go to wrestling and everything's okay. That's how that works.
Texter says, ESPN, I hope that emailer is happy. The show went back to talking sports, and look what happened. Another text says, ESPN, the NFL is so stupid, won't let guys work out and eat together, but can swap sweat on the field. ESPN, enough with hearing Clownzo talk about how he thinks the vaccine is restricting his freedoms. I think Lonzo had a valid point. I disagree with it, but it's a valid discussion.
Clownzo. Wow.
Yeah.
I've never heard that before.
Next time, just call him Alonzo.
Yeah, that's actually
a unique one.
That's a little more damaging.
Yeah. At ESPN, are we talking like not wearing socks as in we can see your feet, or just no socks in shoes? What? Did we have a socks discussion?
Yeah, you talked about how you got let go because you didn't follow the dress code.
Gotcha. No, I wore Sperry. You know what Sperry topsiders are?
See, I'm listening.
Yeah, Zoe's paying attention to me more than I am. Sperry's. You know boat shoes topsiders?
I know boats,
Yeah,
but I've
boat
never heard
shoes.
of as Sperry's.
All right, they're the brown dad boat shoes everybody wears. You know them if you see them. Anyway, I wore those.
They smell really bad after a couple weeks.
It's summertime in Florida, and they breathe. They're comfortable, and I was supposed to wear socks under those, I guess. At ESPN, my entire lunch hour is spent listening to you. My entire commute home is spent listening to Mark. 2 different shows, and both great. Don't change. At ESPN, what? Scalabrini? I need more ginger-haired three-point shooting in my life. Hey, Red Velvet, baby. Atlanta Hawks are your team next year. At ESPN, I caught that line over the weekend. I loved it. Keep doing you, and I will keep listening. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Another texter says, sounds like somebody straight up mad about your show. Another texter says, ESPN. Oh, no, we already read that one. All right, cool. Yep, so there we go. All caught up. Got to take a break because we're way off the clock. We'll wrap up hour 2 when we come back on the Rob Brown Show. Rob and Lonzo and you. This is ESPN Upstate.
Golf cart.
The 2021 Upstate Golf Card is available now. So I got out and played on Friday. Took a couple of guys from over at the Triumph and went and played the Preserve at Verde, which, yes, is on the card. And, yes, it was a delightful day. Shot, ladies and gentlemen, a 99. That included, however, a par birdie finish on 16, 17, and 18 to save a two-figure total. You're welcome. You can do better. Well, you can practice. You can try it. You can pretend to do better by picking up the Upstate Golf Card. Not only is the Preserve at Verde, of course, I played on Friday, had a beautiful time out there playing that, but there are 8 other courses available for you as well. 8 other courses on the golf card, and you can play all of them right this very minute. The card lasts throughout the rest of the year. It's $99. You're getting 9 rounds of golf. You can't beat that deal. So go to upstategolfcard.com to get yours. Upstategolfcard.com. Pick yours up. Play some golf. What's better in the Upstate than a round of golf? It's the 2021 Upstate Golf Card. I am losing it over you said raked Brady. Is there talk from Cena, or does he just dance around the ring? Looks like he just dances around the ring for a minute. I saw him throw it in Roman's face, but I don't know if he's going to pick up a mic after.
That's it.
Okay. All right. Money in the Bank's finished.
Just ask it, I will play the radio for you.
No, Chad, they have not named the 13 teams that have hit the 85%. Specifically, I suspect we're going to be closer to 20. But keep in mind that a couple of teams actually don't start their camps for another couple of weeks, which means they still have some time to hit that number before they have to report. Wow, Steven. Hey, that golf score was pretty close to your high bowling score. All right, it was one night. I had one off night bowling. And it was the lane's fault, not mine. And Lonzo will actually support me on that.
Yeah, because I normally don't support him on anything. No, he's absolutely right. So what we're going to have to do to redeem ourselves
is go to a bowling alley.
When you get back and you have some time, we'll just pick some evening and
Yeah.
go bowl some.
I'm good with that.
5 minutes that way.
I'm good with that. We'll just go right after the show. Because there will be redemption.
So that one thing that I was worried about giving free advertising to, even though I had a discussion with someone while we were bowling about the company.
Yeah.
They were advertising this weekend.
There you go.
Why didn't he just tell me that?
Yeah. Yeah,
I realize we don't talk often, but I mean.
Yeah, still. When you have that conversation.
Say, hey, they're on this weekend.
Yeah.
Which I would have been like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
Let me get, which I contacted them today.
So, Joe, when I say 99, I mean 99, but that included, that one's sitting up on rocks off the side of the course. I'm going to give myself the fringe. I will acknowledge that I would say Doug and I are pretty even golfers. I'd say me, Doug, and Andrew are all relatively even. They both putt better than me, though. But 16, 17, 18 were the best 3 holes of golf I've played since I moved here. I saved myself with those last 3. An honest par birdie to wrap up. I probably should have been like a 106, 107, but I played the 3 best rounds of golf I played since I moved here. Yeah, I think on like 14, 14, I hit an absolute monster of a drive that I had to play it from where it landed because it was off in the rough, and a lot of the rough at Preserve is like it's like straight up branches on the side of the hole. And there were a couple I was like, I'll ruin a club if I hit it from here. If I'd have had to play it from there, I'd have been in TROUBLE. Wrapping up our numero dos right here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. 844-477-3776. The number, text us on the Ingles Market text line at 71307. Coming up in the next hour of the show, got a lot of stuff we need to get into. We just haven't gotten to yet. Team USA knocks off Canada in the Gold Cup. They win Group B. How about that? They win Group B. And what I was most excited about winning Group B is that by winning Group B, I had kind of been working under the assumption that they would not have to face Mexico until the semifinal round, and that's what ended up happening. Mexico ends up coming in second in Group A, so as group winners, but then had the Americans ended up coming in second in Group B, they'd have been on the other side of the bracket, so they get an easier quarterfinal round taking on Jamaica. But if Mexico wins their quarterfinal round, then the Americans will have to face Mexico. They'll face El Tri in the semifinal round, which I don't love. I have some analysis of that win and talk a little bit about Alexi Lawless and his response, because I wasn't a huge fan. So we'll do that in the next hour. Team USA basketball, both men's and women's, looked much better in their Sunday night exhibition matches. We'll talk about that. And All hail Tom Brady. I don't know that we'll actually make it to that or not. I just wanted to see how Lonzo was going to react to it, and it was exactly like I thought he would. Exactly like I thought. He's so excited to talk Tom Brady in the next hour. We're not going to talk about Tom Brady. Unless we do. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. And more. All coming up in the third hour of the Rob Brown Show. That's next. Right here on ESPN Upstate. What did Salt and Pepper say? If looks could kill, you would be an Uzi?
I don't recall that lyric, but it doesn't appear to rhyme. But yeah,
well, it's in the context of the sport. I think the previous word that they rhymed it with was doozy. We need to talk about the direction of the show.
I've been thinking about some changes, and I'll just quote that email. The entire thing.
that's weird.
Delightful day. Shot, ladies and gentlemen.
Is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley. You have a filter turned on in the video setting. You might want to do that. Can you hear me, Judge? I can hear you. I think it's a filter. And it hasn't, I don't know how to remove it. I'm here live. I'm not smart. I can see that. I'm here live. I'm not a cat. It was a filter. It's a Zoom chat and had on a facial filter that turned his face into a kitty cat. So here's this judge who is having a conversation about judgy lawyering stuff with a cat. And the best part is the lawyer insisting to the judge, Your Honor, I am not a cat.
Let's do cuts 3 and 3A in the next segment. I'll start with 3.
Okie dokie. The Prisma in the first break.
Okay. Yes, it is the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate. Thank you, deep-voiced announcer guy. Hour number 3 gets its go right now. I am Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, at the helm today. The conductor of the Symphony of Sound, that is the Rob Brown Show, each and every day from noon to 3 right here on ESPN Upstate. We're followed up, of course, by Offsides with Mark Ryan, the man who claims to be the most interactive sports talk show in the state of South Carolina. We, of course, take the claim of, nominated for. We'll let you know, what is it, August 18th, I think we go find out? 13th? 18th?
I thought it was the 14th. I don't know.
14th?
It's somewhere around there.
You'll know when it is.
It's about,
I promise.
It's about a month from now.
You'll know when it is because either the next week, Lonzo and I will introduce every segment as you're listening to the best sports talk show in the state of South Carolina, or we'll never bring it up again. One or the other is going to happen.
Well, you could still bring the trophy in if you wanted to. You know, second place is
the first loser.
Yeah, it still looks kind of cool.
Hey, who came in second in the Daytona 500 this year?
I don't know who came in first, so it doesn't really matter.
All right, bad example.
All right, so Texter, your co-host doesn't even know who won the Daytona 500. Yeah.
I was going to do the nerd voice, but you don't get that one with NASCAR.
Yeah, it doesn't work with NASCAR.
Yeah, it doesn't work with NASCAR. Actually.
Hey, boy, what you doing on the air? You don't even know who won the Daytona 500. You suck, boy. You do. Daggum.
Well,
that's I'm not saying that all NASCAR fans sound like that, but if that guy, they don't. No, they do not.
I don't sound like that, and I'm a NASCAR fan.
By the way, I'm not making fun of South Carolina accents. My family, my aunts and uncles and my mom and everything, they're from Kentucky, so that gives me license.
You can only say that voice if you have that voice, I believe is what.
There's a reason why I can do it so well. That's all I'm saying.
All right, Gold Cup, CONCACAF Gold Cup. Big tournament for the Americans, playing with their more of a developmental squad. Yeah. Playing with the more developmental squad. You got a lot of MLS guys, a lot of younger guys on this team. We saw Daryl DK, who had a phenomenal game in the second of 3 group matches. Well, they went up against Canada, took on the Canucks, America's hat, in a Gold Cup group. It wasn't necessarily winner take all because the Americans had to win. A draw would have given Canada the group. The Americans had to win outright. They took on Canada, and this is what you needed to know.
Rob, the first ever meeting between these teams was in 1925. It is a rivalry that lay dormant for a long time. It was revived in the fall of 2019 in Toronto with Canada's first win in more than 30 years. It is renewed today on a warm afternoon in Kansas City at the 2021 CONCACAF Gold Cup. And it is in front of a packed house at Children's Mercy Park underway with the United States once again wearing red and blue. It is Canada in the white. Both these teams know they're advancing and will play in a quarterfinal a week from today in Dallas as Kellen Acosta trying to drive through. How about Gianluca Busio? No, Acosta got it away. Leggett in front. It's tapped home. 20 seconds on the clock. The United States on the board. Shaq Moore.
Well, what a start for the United States. Straight out of the gates here, flying. Kellen Acosta getting involved, and he actually takes this one off of Buzio's toe. Finds a wide open Sebastian Leggett, and Shaq Moore, he gambles early here at the back post. He senses the space with Leggett, time and space to pick out that pass. It's a wonderful ball across the goal from Crepeau. Greg Berhalter and his staff get exactly what they would have wanted in this game. Just 30 seconds into the match, Shaq Moore, high and wide, back post, 5 yards out in the back of the net. United States lead 1-0 early.
Shaq Moore says, if you need me, there I'll be. Back post, beautiful little cross. Leggett lets it flick on, and Shaq Moore nets the game's only goal 20 seconds into the match. The Americans walk away 1-0 winners over the Canadians in a game that I got to say, I am more optimistic about this young squad than a lot of other people were.
I'm excited for an American victory, but I feel sorry for fans who got really excited after that first goal and you jumped up and you really got into it and you're going to get to do that again. Just 20 seconds in and no, still waiting, still waiting.
You know, Lonzo and I and Captain America Chris Evans down the hall were all sitting in the office this morning and had a discussion about this as I was putting the highlights in. Because I said, one thing that I enjoyed last week when the Americans dumped 6 on Martinique was that when I made the highlights, I made like a 4-minute highlight reel of that game and it was all the goals. And when I sat down to this one, had I put together another reel of some of the better plays, which the Americans had a lot of in this match, a lot of opportunity in this match. I could have put together a 4-minute highlight match where the first goal was literally the first clip, and then it would have been a whole heck of a lot of great opportunity, great cross, it hits the post. Great opportunity, great cross, beautiful block from Canada. Great opportunity off the free kick here. Oh, what a defensive play by the Canadians. And Lonzo would have gone, why'd you make us listen to 3 minutes of clips with 1 goal involved? And the answer is because that's the beautiful part of the beautiful game.
As has been the case on a lot of segments on the show today, I totally disagree with you because after the first minute or so, I would have phased out. I wouldn't have heard anything. So it would have been good.
Actually. So go to and I'll say this one more time because I feel like I've said this to Lonzo so many times. And ladies and gentlemen, he'll get it one day. He'll get it one day. The beautiful part about this game is not found solely in the goals.
It's about the cardio and running around and being in great shape and dodging, getting kicked in the shins, or also working on your acting skills. Which, if you are a soccer player at this level, you still need a lot of work with.
You better not say a word about the NBA anymore. Then
you
better not say another word. About
I gotta
good.
say, you compare. I think the acting in the NBA is a little bit better. What's the number 1 movie in America right now? Anyway,
I believe it's Space Jam. Believe it's LeBron.
And some people call that acting.
Believe it's LeBron. So the beauty of soccer is in the playing of the game, not the goals. All right. Now, if it leads to some beautiful goals, that's great. But just like in baseball, I can be entertained by a 1-0 pitcher's duel with 2 hits over 9 innings because the beauty is in the playing of the game, not the runs scored.
You know what's more entertaining to me on the baseball side on that is listening to the announcers try not to jinx it as if they believe if they say it, it's going to jinx it. I find that more entertaining.
Don't talk about the no-hitter. I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. So Alexi Lawless, who a lot of people dislike. I'm not one of them. I don't dislike Alexi Lawless the way that a lot of soccer fans do.
I liked him as a player.
Back in the denim jersey days?
Yes, because I'm a little bit older in case you didn't know. And I like him as an announcer. On occasion when I just happen to be watching cardio.
I like Alexi. Except, for whatever reason, and here's where I may get Zoe on my side. Being negative for the sake of being negative. Now, I don't think everybody is. I don't think Mike Irvin is calling out the Cowboys for failing to meet the vaccination rate to get on TV. Michael Irvin doesn't need publicity to get on TV. He's Michael Irvin. But
I believe he has a stake in Hard Knocks, but that's just me.
So negative, Lonzo. I watched this match. Here was Alexi Lawless's breakdown of this match when it was over.
If you remember, after a disappointing opening 1-0 win over Haiti to start this tournament, U.S. manager Greg Berhalter reflected on it and eventually called it disjointed. What do you expect his words to be about this performance?
Again, disjointed. And if you're judging this Gold Cup tournament results simply on the result, A for Greg Berhalter and this team. You got the result you need. If you care about how that result came to be, then this is an F. There was nothing inspiring. There was nothing interesting. And there's certainly nothing, the way I look at it, as progressive or something to build on. This was not a good performance, but a great result.
This team hopefully will learn from this experience in that they had to suffer. They had to suffer for large spells in this game. Canada figured them out really early on. And it took a while before we saw Greg make any tactical adjustments. They didn't come to fruition as much as we thought they might have helped. But again, the positive that you take from this is you win the group. You win the group against your northern rival, your foes in Canada, and you get 3 wins out of 3 games. So for this young group of players, there's some things that they still have to correct and get better at, Greg as well. But you go forward, you move forward into the next round, and you take the 3 wins, and you're positive with that moment.
If you can play poorly and still win, well done. Take it. But that only lasts so long.
He's not wrong about that. You can play not your best sport and win a few in a row and be fine.
So what's the difference between that and a coach coming on after a victory and pointing out all the negatives and the things that need to be worked on? Because he's kind of doing the same thing.
Because to him, it sounds like he thinks there was just nothing to be proud of about this win. And I disagree with him.
Well, he was wrong about one thing. They didn't figure it out early on.
They did.
No, they figured it out early on, but not very early on, like he said, because they scored in the first 20 seconds.
20 seconds.
So they figured it out after that.
They figured him out after about 10, 15 minutes. But The back line, for the most part, held. Canada had a few opportunities. The back line was was pressed into duty a few times. But I think he's not acknowledging the fact that the Americans pushed Canada into a lot of tough spots as well. A lot of opportunities for the Americans. In fact, not but I think 2-3 minutes after the goal went in for Shaq Moore, there was another opportunity. Well, Daryl DK, who had 2 goals, should have been 3 in that last match against Martinique. Daryl DK got one in, hit a beautiful little reverse heel flick towards the post, and it was 6 inches wide. If that thing's a foot in the other direction, the United States are up 2-0 at that spot. I think when the Alexei has kind of gotten to this spot where for him, he makes his money by being the negative guy. He makes his spot by being the guy who craps on when there is positive. Listen, this is the Americans B team, all right? This is the developmental squad in the Gold Cup. And in the developmental squad, you've got some guys that stepped up their game. Shaq Morris, Sebastian Leggett, Daryl DK. You've got some guys that stepped their game up and showed up and performed and put this American side in a spot to gain some notice. They probably deserved another goal, maybe 2 against Canada. Didn't get them. But that's the thing. You got to grind through from not getting the opportunities to getting the opportunities but not getting the goals to getting the opportunities and then getting the goals. And I think that this side has gotten through the spot where they're getting the opportunities and not the goals to where they're getting the opportunities and the goals will come. It's about building confidence, right? It's about building. I don't expect excellence out of this roster at this tournament. Do I expect wins? Yeah, I do. But I don't expect perfection. I don't expect greatness. I expect development. I expect to see a better team in the quarterfinals than I did in a 1-0 win over Haiti in the opener. And that's exactly what we've gotten. Lonzo has pointed out many times that if the Americans want Americans to watch the American international side win, then they got to win, right? Well, so far, that's what they're doing. They beat Haiti. They beat Martinique. They looked better between those games. They beat Martinique, then they beat Canada. Now, this won't make sense to a lot of people, but to me, they looked better against Canada scoring a goal than they did against scoring 6 against Martinique. They looked more fluid. They looked more tactically sound. They had guys making better decisions on and off the ball. They were in the spots they needed to be in.
By the way,
opportunities.
I think that makes perfect sense because you pointed out that Martinique not that good of a team. So when you're able to win against a better team, you better have better fundamentals or you just got lucky. And from what you've said, it was better fundamentals. Now, I need a little bit of an explanation. So this is the B team. What does that mean? So does it mean they're playing in lieu of the A team because the A team is doing something else, or are there 2 teams?
Most of your A-team guys, your Weston McKennies, your Kristen Pulisic, et cetera, are with their domestic teams, the teams they play for professionally.
Okay.
This team is made up of guys that are in the MLS right now who have taken a break from MLS to come play in this tournament. This is a very young team. These are your next group of stars that are going to be added into the roster.
So the reason why I'm asking this question, are they playing other teams that are doing the same? Are they playing other B teams or are they playing the A team of other countries?
Yes and no. They're playing mixed up. Like Canada has a couple of frontline guys that are not with their team, but for the most part, the Canadian team is the best team that Canada can field. Martinique, that's the best team Martinique can field. Mexico is going to be missing a couple of their better players, but it's not a bad. They're playing other B teams. They are playing mixed squads just like this is a mixed squad. There are some guys on this team that are on the A team.
So I'm not talking down about this. I just want to, because I know there are a lot of people like me that don't get it entirely. Yeah. So what this does do, it makes it look like the future is pretty bright. I'm not going to use the Mark Ryan quote because, he uses it way too much.
That you got to wear shades.
Yeah, which I think he got from a song. which was about nuclear war, by the way. He probably doesn't know that. But anyway, I watched the video, when VH1 did the thing with the bubbles.
Pop-up video.
Yeah, that's it. Pop-up
One of
video.
the greatest shows on TV.
Oh, it was great. I loved that. I'd watch that. I'd watch it now if it was on. So the sad part is I've heard in years past about, look at this team. This is what the future is. And then the future never comes to today. I know there's no guarantee, but it's good that these kids are playing well and everything. But when they get to that next step, what does America need to do to actually be on the level of the rest of the world and stay there?
Well, that's what you're trying to find out with these guys, right? Like a lot of in the past, a lot of what you've had is taking the next generation of players and just plugging them into an old system and expecting it to work. Greg Berhalter, who is the coach of the A team, is coaching this B team too. So these guys are getting a chance to learn what it is like to play for the A team, the tactics, the formations, the prep, everything. They are getting that opportunity. And what we are looking for out of this team is to find out what group of athletes on this squad will make it to the A team, will make it to where Pulisic and McKinney and Reyna and those guys are, to fill in the gaps that the A team has right now, right? The A team right now, for instance, is looking for who's going to be the striker, the goal scorer, the guy, because in the years past, it's been Josie Altidore, and you got to replace that now because we just don't have it. Well, this team, we are looking at Daryl DK. Is he the guy we can plug at that spot up front in that one position that can get us those goals that have been missed? The Americans have been in spots to contend in World Cups and Olympics in years past and just haven't been able to find the goals they've needed to push to the next level. Well, maybe Daryl DK, who got 3 in the last one, created the third own goal. Maybe he's that guy. We're trying to learn that so we can promote them, so that in a month, when the United States plays Canada again in Nashville for World Cup qualifying, a game that they need points for, maybe Daryl DK is the guy you plug in up front to go find those goals that we have not had. That's why this Gold Cup has been important, but it's also why there are guys like me that are getting optimistic because we're seeing it. We're seeing pieces that we have not had at the top level. Can it translate from this level in the Gold Cup up to World Cup qualifying? The answer is fingers crossed, because if so, we're in a good spot. Let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a moment from right now. We got to get some NBA discussion in. Damian Lillard going to request a trade. And, of course, there's a potential super team on the line to be formed, and you guys are going to hate who Dame Lillard might be lined up to next year. Tell you that when we come back. Rob Lonzo, it's ESPN Upstate.
Where's my...
The official healthcare provider for the Clemson Tigers, the University of South Carolina Gamecocks, and if you do it right, you and your family, is Prisma Health right here in the Upstate. Prisma Health has over 2,400 doctors in their network. Why? Because they want to ensure that there is a doctor in the Prisma network that you and your family can trust, likes, wants to work with, etc. They have locations located all throughout the Midlands in the Upstate. Why? Because we know that, hey, look, of course you want to take care of your health. You want to look after your health. But the reality is you also have a real life going on. They want to make sure there's a facility close to you. And their My Chart feature on their website is set up, streamlined, efficient, and organized. Why? Because we know that when you want to look after your healthcare, knowing where you stand is very important. Having all your information available so that you can look and make good decisions for you and your family is important. And when you go see the doctor, you want to know that your doctor can look at your chart and go, okay, this is what's going on. This is where you stand. Let's move from here. And that your information is kept confidential and secure. Prisma Health is bending over backwards to make sure that you get the best health care that you can receive, you and your family. Check all of that out and more online by going to their website at prismahealth.org. Prismahealth.org. You can see all of that and more right there on their website. Go to prismahealth.org to learn more. It's Prisma Health right here in the Upstate.
Download the Score app today. Lightning fast sports alerts so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Hawley.
Have you heard Offsides with Mark Ryan?
Coming up on a Monday episode of Offsides with Mark Ryan and Diesel, our SEC and ACC team preview series continues. We're getting you set for the ACC Media Days in Charlotte and one of the most loose rivalries in college football. We'll explain all on a Monday episode. Offsides with Mark Ryan and Diesel.
The Upstate is talking about Offsides with Mark Ryan. Now 3 to 7 p.m. on ESPN Upstate.
Welcome to Moe's. Mom, let's talk. Crispy pasta? Seriously? Feel free to tell the mommy blogger it ain't working. If you want me to eat better, let's just go to Moe's. I'll get a quesadilla, burrito, or taco. Throw in a little chicken, cheese, and some lettuce and black beans with pork. And since I'm under 12, I eat 3 on Sundays when you get an entree. So say yes to Moe's on Sunday and no to those crazy noodles.
Hey, it's ESPN Upstate's Mark Ryan. Join me at Ingles Markets this and every Thursday from 3 to 7 with a special live edition of Offsides with Mark Ryan. This Thursday will be at 8004 Warren H. Abernathy Highway in Spartanburg. Brought to you by Ingles Markets on ESPN Upstate.
Spring is in the air, and the Upstate Golf Cart is now on sale. For just $99, get rounds of golf at 9 premier Upstate courses like Linso Tryon, The Rock, Pebble Creek, and more. Get yours today at upstategolfcart.com. That's upstategolfcart.com.
It's all wins and no losses with new exclusive stations by Odyssey. Discover rocking music stations made for sports fans just like you. Crank up the good times with Tailgate Rock. Get ready for the big game with Troy Hughes Stadium anthems. Or get game ready with tunes from all your country faves on Tailgate Crashers.
So Ubisoft just announced a free-to-play game within the Tom Clancy universe.
Really?
Yes.
Like a battle royal game, or
The new game invites different factions and characters from throughout past Tom Clancy games, such as Splinter Cell, The Division, games like that. So I'm thinking it's going to be like what you play all the time. This is why I was mentioning it, because
like Warzone?
Yeah, it's going to be like that. Cool. So it does mention Ghost Recon, which I love that game.
Ghost Recon was a great game.
Still never beat it.
It's a tough game.
Yeah, I love when you steal someone's car. Sorry, brother. Every time it sounds like Hulk Hogan stealing someone's car. That's the one we helped to beta test that.
Yeah.
And you have to steal a car in the beginning. So I got the car out and then floored it right back into the garage and blew up the entire garage. And Cameron's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "We're trying to break the game. That's the whole point of beta testing."
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is ESPN Upstate. Rob Lonzo and you be a part of the show. 844-GSP, ESPN, 844-477-3776. You know, we spent so much time talking about Aaron Rodgers, and Damian Lillard may be joining the Aaron Rodgers camp of I like my team, but I don't love my team. I'm out. Damian Lillard, there was a report towards the end of last week saying that Damian Lillard was not thrilled with the direction of the Portland Trailblazers and with their fans predominantly, said that he just didn't feel like he was getting the love, I guess, and might be requesting a trade up out of Portland, might decide to take his talents elsewhere. Now, Damian Lillard came out and said that wasn't true, and that, quote, anything I have to say, I'm going to say it directly to Neil, talking about Trailblazers president Neil Olshey. Since then, another source that claims to be close to Damian Lillard has come out and said that in the days to come, probably by the end of this week, Damian Lillard would request a trade out of Portland. Why is this a story? Why is this a big discussion? Well, frankly, because if Damian Lillard was to request a trade out of Portland, It would rock the NBA, man. It really would. It would be the next big named superstar, not just to ask out, not just to try to get out, but the next big name superstar that would likely end up joining a super team. And the word right now is that the Los Angeles Lakers are already beginning to put together a play to bring Dame time to LA to pair him up with Anthony Davis and LeBron James, trying to put together a trio in LA that would be on par with the trio that has been put together in Brooklyn. Here's what I'm interested about in this story, Lonzo. We are watching in the NBA Finals right now a pair of teams that are not super teams, a pair of teams that are well-constructed rosters. You got a very good set of complementary teams based around, or complementary players that are based around Giannis Antetokounmpo in Milwaukee. You got a very good complement of players that are based around Devin Booker in Phoenix, a group of role guys that have come together to form some chemistry that took two teams, not super teams, to the NBA Finals. The super team in Brooklyn got beat by Milwaukee. The super teams in the West, including LA, all got knocked out by Phoenix, right? I've said a couple of times, I think that we are entering a new era in the NBA. I think we are going to start to see more teams following the path that Phoenix and Milwaukee built. But I got to tell you right now, if the Lakers add Damian Lillard and are able to stay healthy from start to finish, which I think was the big problem in these playoffs this year, they were just banged up. If they add Dame Lillard, as much as we talked about Kyrie, KD, and James Harden, and maybe I should learn my lesson, because I said when those three got together in Brooklyn, I thought we were looking at what would be the most prolific and potent offense in the history of the NBA. If Dame time gets added, it takes pressure off of LeBron. It opens up the floor for Anthony Davis. I think Dame, AD, and LeBron become the best super team we've ever seen in the NBA.
But and here's another reason why you do this, because when Anthony Davis goes down again, and I say when and not if, when he goes down again, you got that second star on the team. So this is one of those teams where, and we saw that in Brooklyn also, how often were all three of those stars on the team. So now it's not bringing in that third star so all three of you can play together. It's bringing in that third star in case one of them goes down, because it seems like that's happening quite a bit now.
Sure.
And if Dame Lillard was on this Lakers team, they'd be in the finals right now.
I don't think you're wrong. I think you're spot on accurate, actually. I think if Dame's in there after what we saw Dame do this season.
Even with Anthony Davis down, with him on the team, yeah.
I agree. I also think the chances of AD getting hurt probably decrease, right? You take the pressure off of Anthony Davis, he's not going to get double teamed and is absolutely racked and beat under the goal as he does now. Because if you send two down to AD, then you've ended up opening the floor up for Dame Lillard to be knocking down those logo threes that he's known for, right? I think Anthony Davis, I'm not saying he wouldn't, but it's less likely he gets hurt if Dame's on that team.
If you're Dame Lillard and you're willing to share the ball a little bit, share the spotlight, and you want a championship, that's where you go.
Yeah, I completely concur. Completely agree with you. Now, here's where it gets fun. Here's where it gets interesting. Dame Lillard has gone out of his way during his time in Portland to paint himself as the exception to the super team rule. He's gone out of his way to paint himself as a guy who's loyal to Portland. He doesn't want to be on a super team. He wants to have a team built around him. He wants the credit for succeeding in the environment that super teams have created in the last couple of years. I think there is as much of a chance here, though, that Dame isn't so much committed to leaving to go to a super team as he's using his leverage as one of the NBA's numero uno dudes to force Portland into going to find pieces like Phoenix did for Devin Booker, like Milwaukee has done for Giannis Antetokounmpo, which, if we're being honest, Portland really hasn't done, right? They've pretty much relied on Dame to be the dude and just brought in a mismatch of guys. I wonder if Dame Lillard isn't maybe doing a little bit of this, Lonzo, just to try to put some heat on Neil Olshey and the rest of the gang in Portland to go, you know what? I want to be here. I want to be the guy. Here's the thing, though. I've been in a situation where I've worked for a radio station where I bent over backwards to carry that. When a host went to jail and they had nothing else to do, not only did I do 7 to 8 live hours of radio a day, but I was the only programming guy in the building. I was programming 2 stations for them because they had nobody else to do it. And then it got to a point where I realized, oh, you guys never actually intended to get me help. You were just rolling on the fact that I was willing to do all this and be in this building 14 hours a day running 2 stations for you. You just wanted to take full advantage of that until I was done, and I had to walk, despite having vicious loyalty to the listeners of that market. I had to walk. Part of the reason I'm here, right? I got to wonder if this isn't Dame basically, Lonzo, putting the Portland Trailblazers on notice of, you're either going to do what Phoenix did for Booker, you're going to do what Milwaukee did for Giannis, or I will go somewhere else, because everybody has a breaking point where they're done being the only guy that pitches in to accomplish a mission.
It's smart business sense playing both sides, because then you decide which one you want more. If the team comes to him and says, hey, man, we want to keep you here, we're willing to do this for you, then you have a decision to make, especially if you have the option to go to LA. And either decision is a pretty good decision financially. So there's nothing wrong with that.
I got no ill will towards Dame here. Trailblazers haven't done anything to help him that I can tell off the top of my head in a couple of years. And he's going, hey, either you do or I'm out. I got no issue if that's the way he's playing this. None at all. Speaking of Aaron Rodgers, we have been keeping an eye on his situation. We are waiting to find out if we're going to get any new information. But the Packers go to camp this week. And so far, there's been zero indication that Aaron Rodgers is going to show up. We called it. I think we both put our predictions on the table a couple of weeks ago, and I stand by it. Aaron Rodgers is not quarterbacking the Green Bay Packers this year, Lonzo. I think the Packers at this point, I hate to say it, because you want fair market trade value for the reigning defending NFC MVP. But I got to tell you, I don't think they're getting it.
Yeah, I believe he's done too. But if he did decide to stay there, he doesn't really need training camp like everybody else does. He's Aaron Rodgers.
True. The team plays to him, not the other way around. I agree with you. But, I think Dame is putting the feet to the fire in Portland. I think Aaron Rodgers feels like he's put the feet to the fire in years past, and the Packers still have not changed anything. I got to think now. A-Rod said last week or the week before? He said, look, at the end of the day, this is for my mental health. This is for my mental well-being. This is for me to have peace of mind. Sometimes I just don't want to talk about football, and that's why I've been so quiet. And there may be some truth to that. I'll take him at his word. But him not showing up to camp, if he doesn't, which again, I don't think he will, but if he doesn't show up to camp, I've got to think that at some point he just doesn't want to be there. He feels stabbed in the back, and he's not wrong for feeling that way. Seen a lot of people go after Rodgers. Oh, I could do this to the team, but not go after the Packers and go, how could you do this to Aaron Rodgers? Of all the positions on the football field that you want to be loyal to, the quarterback's the guy if he's as good as Aaron Rodgers. He's simply saying, they screwed me over, I'm done. And I don't blame him for it. Take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about what happened at the Nationals Park over the weekend. A very sad story there. And then Twitter trending topics to wrap up the Monday. Remember, Diddy is in for me. A Diddy takeover of the Rob Brown Show tomorrow. I'll be at Clemson for Media Day, calling and checking into the show. We'll update you on what the rest of the week looks like when we come back right here on ESPN Upstate. I see y'all on the stream. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Good to have you.
With no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, and an app that lets you bank anytime, anywhere, choosing Capital One is like the easiest decision in the history of decisions. That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. Capital One member FDIC. From the Eagles and Marcus to the ESPN Upstate.
An Odyssey station.
Hey, it's Bill Donovan from Breakaway Honda. Right now, we're having the great big Breakaway Honda SUV sale. We have brand new Honda SUVs with financing as low as 0%. Plus, Breakaway has the largest selection of new and used Hondas in the upstate. Easy financing, more for your trade-in, always a low-stress experience. Number one for a lot of reasons. You never have to settle for less at Breakaway Honda. 330 Woodruff Road or breakawayhonda.com.
Did you know Indeed has 135 skills tests to help you screen for the experience your company needs? Not frisbee throwing or whistling with your fingers, but essential skills.
Can you whistle like the?
No.
I can't whistle at all.
No.
Shell V-Power Nitro Plus to help keep your engine running like new. Save up with the Fuel Rewards program and never pay full price for gas again. And snap up with
The answer to that question, Steven, is I don't know.
Should be.
I mean, it is a possibility. That's going to be up to well, I could just not leave it up to him. I could just do it and tell him that it's required. But since it has to be run from that computer over there, since this one isn't fixed yet, we'll see. We'll see. I will talk to him about it. There's a good shot the answer is yes. Although if we are, even if Rob calls in, he still won't be on the stream. Although there's a way to do that too.
StreamYard in. Well, you couldn't put me on air that way. I have to go.
No, I could.
You can put me on air every StreamYard?
Yeah, but there's a chance of some
feedback.
Well, I put Cameron on the air with StreamYard every Saturday.
Okay. We'll play with it.
Because it's the equivalent of a phone call.
Yeah.
How do you keep a workout fresh every day? By getting everything from endurance rides to restorative yoga, all right at home. The Peloton bike, nothing like working out from home. Visit onepeloton.com to learn more. Friends, demand for unskilled workers is sky high. Who wants that life? There's demand for hundreds of thousands of IT and cybersecurity professionals in the U.S. My Computer Career is training people to meet it. Get skilled. Go to mycomputercareer.edu.
Get skilled. Get good, kid.
Well, Keegan, I'm not completely against that, except for it's Tuesday.
Family day.
And
That's a compound.
yes, and very soon could be some of the last ones we do because half the house is moving. Things should be closed by the end of this week, and the children will be gone. So,
Sheeran.
yes. Now, after that, I'm probably free. Don't necessarily want to be, but I might be.
The Rob Brown Show heading towards the end. Let me grab clip number 8, if you don't mind. Nope, scratch that 9. Number 9, if you don't mind, please, Lonzo. 6th inning over the weekend. The Washington Nationals television broadcast. I don't know, man. Just a sad moment. We were talking earlier in the show about sports is supposed to be an escape from reality, an escape from real life. It's supposed to be the place we go and the thing we do to get away from the bad stuff. There over the weekend during a game, there were shots fired just outside of Nationals Park, and they came across the television broadcast. I'm going to play this audio. This is from Bally Sports. West was carrying the game. And I want you to listen closely as the wrap-up of the 6th inning concluded. You can hear the gunshots. It's horrifying.
Gets Myers swinging. Padres put 3 more on the board. 8-4.
Nationals dugout to get away.
Yeah, people are
the end of the dugout and into the Padres dugout now too. This is really
your attention,
scary.
please. We ask that you remain inside the stadium at this time. Once again, your attention, please. We ask that you remain inside the stadium at this time.
So several people have run into both the Nationals and Padres dugout here and have run out of the stadium. And they're being asked, as you just heard, to stay in the stadium at the moment. We are not sure what's taking place. We will step aside and come back.
Once again, your attention, please. For your safety, please remain inside the stadium at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. The action is outside of the stadium. At this time, we ask that you remain in the stadium.
So that was the end of the broadcast. The game would be suspended in the 6th inning due to a shooting outside of Nationals Park. You heard the stadium PA announcer there saying the shooting is taking place outside the stadium. Please stay inside the stadium. They would end up having people. I mean, it was a horrifying scene. If you got to see it, they had some cameras outside the park looking down. People are just sprinting in different directions, trying to find cover, trying to get out. It ended up being some sort of argument / confrontation between people outside of the stadium. 3 people ended up being shot. I believe 1 or 2 are still in the hospital as a result. We don't know what spurred the shooting, what caused the shooting. Still waiting to find out exactly what the details were. But, I just, it's frustrating, Lonzo, because regardless of where you stand on everything going on in the world, at the end of the day, baseball is supposed to be one of the things that brings us together. Baseball is supposed to be one of the things that you're supposed to be able to go enjoy, to get away from everything that's happening that is scary in the world. And here you are outside of a Major League Baseball game, a good one. People are supposed, and now you can't even go to a baseball game. I mean, granted, look, there have been 1,000 baseball games played so far this season, and this is the only one it's happened. But it's kind of one of those things that the reason I hate it so much, Lonzo, is, I go to baseball games as often as possible, whether it's the drive at the Spartanburgers or going over to Atlanta and going to a Braves game. When you're in a stadium, when you're in a game and you're enjoying a game, dude, the thought of I might get shot here is not supposed to even cross your mind. And now it's one of those things that will, like it or not, it's one of those things of I got to leave this game to walk back to my car, and all it's going to take is one crazy person, and it might be my last baseball game. It sucks.
See, I got to admit, since where I grew up in it, I think that everywhere I go, I mean, into restaurants, all that, it always enters my mind when I first go somewhere. So, and there are some people that are like that. It shouldn't be that way. It absolutely shouldn't be that way. And I don't blame the panic of the people running out of the stadium. Unfortunately, they're running towards the problem and not away from it. I've been in a situation. I just thought of this while we were playing the clip. I was at Red, White, and Boom in Columbus, and there are people wall to wall. I mean, getting ready to watch the fireworks, and then a fight broke out, and then immediately, like a square opened up where people just spread out, and then one of the guys pulled out a gun and fired it into the air, and there was this mass panic running everywhere. And in this kind of situation, there was nowhere you could go. If that guy would have decided to, instead of shooting in the air, just start pointing and shooting people. So this has been, I mean, this is nothing new, unfortunately. These kind of things have the possibility of happening. I'm just glad they don't happen very often. The unfortunate part, though, it's a copycat society. And when this happens once, other people follow suit. And I hate that because you hear about unrest outside of soccer games in other countries, but you don't hear about it here as much as you possibly could. And hopefully this isn't the beginning of a trend.
Yeah, you got to hope. I mean, it's painful. Like I said, I mean, I was at a Braves game 2 months ago with a couple of the guys. We were just hanging out, and I'm sitting there and sitting there on the third base line or I guess first base line and having a beer and enjoying a hot dog. And that's never supposed to cross your mind. And now it will. It's just a loss of one more loss of innocence in the world of sports that it sucks, man. It just sucks. All right, let's take a break. Twitter trending topics to wrap up next on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
I have a life.
We played around at 4. What time we tee off Friday? 4:40. We get off the course about 8:15, and it was still freaking hot.
All I gotta say is morning or evening, it's summer.
Yeah.
It's going to be hot. Part of the the fun of being out there. I mean, that's why you don't do it in the winter.
Yeah.
So worst match in Money in the Bank.
I didn't see the Usos Mysterio match.
That was a good match, by the way.
Was it?
Do the Usos ever put a bad match? No, they
I was
don't.
more worried about the Mysterio.
Dominic looks better in front of crowds.
Does he?
I think he looks faster.
Yeah.
Not entirely as fast as he's, but the adrenaline from the crowd is making him move quicker and less methodical. To me, the worst match was Charlotte and Rhea. Rhea just did not look good. And she is
I wonder if she was nervous because she also has not had a
right. WrestleMania didn't look good either. She wilts in that kind of pressure. It looks
But
like.
she's also up against Charlotte, who grabs a hell of a reaction whenever she's in front of a crowd. So I wonder if that plays into it.
She may be someone who needs to stay on NXT with the smaller crowds. And that crowd was
hot.
They were vocal for sure.
That crowd was hot.
And you could tell it brought out the best in a lot of people. But in her, it definitely did not. And all I could think of is like, man, this is bad.
Both the ladder matches were good.
Yeah. I haven't checked. I wonder if Kevin Owens is okay.
He took a hard
I blame Seth Rollins. He kind of has a history of hurting people doing that stuff. But
Owens is Owens is the kind of guy that's like, I want you to powerbomb me off the.
I was telling my wife is like, they still ain't used that big ladder yet. They set that thing up for a reason. Someone's going through that ladder. That just the angle he came down.
Hard.
Yeah. And then when they immediately don't show them anymore, that's always a concern. Since we've been doing Twitter trending topics together, you were doing it before I got on the show. There are times when something happens and I just smile because I'm like, see, I was right. So we probably only have time for, one, maybe two, but we got to get to this. Skynet is trending.
Is it because of umpires?
No.
Why is it?
Because of stinking Boston Dynamics dances. And because Boston Dynamics creepy.
In the program, Boston Dynamics had one of their dog robots out there.
After the show, look at the dancing robot.
I'm watching it right now.
Yeah, that's just not.
It's. I gotta tell you, this robot has better dance moves than Diesel. All right,
that's not hard to do. And Diesel's the best dancer of the 4 shows. So that.
Easy killer.
See,
easy killer.
See, look at that, man. You can't do that.
Your boy is undefeated at wedding receptions. All right, that's all I'm just going to leave that right
there.
At
what point of the reception are you undefeated?
The end.
Of
them.
Yeah. Imagine that.
End of them.
A lot of things happen at the end of those. All right. Another quick thing trending. Sports Illustrated is trending.
Sports Illustrated has, I believe, announced, if it's the story I think of, Naomi Osaka is going to be the first woman on the first woman of color athlete on the cover of the swimsuit issue.
No. If you ask most red-blooded males why Sports Illustrated is
because the swimsuit
trending.
issue's out.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why
Naomi
it's trending.
Osaka on the cover.
That's true. You didn't say that. You didn't say that it was that edition. You just talked about her.
Lonzo's going to spend the rest of the day in his office with a swimsuit edition. I will be live from Clemson Diddy, and tomorrow, see you then on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. Later.